How's it going, everybody? It's Man Tomorrow here. I want to thank you guys for coming through. Hit the one in the chat if you can be able to hear me. Got a different headset today. I haven't tried the live stream on it yet. Let's see if it works. Okay, works. All right. Been asked a question, and it's just that. All right, so all right, so let's go back to when I first started the channel. Correct. First started the channel. This is mm, this is after I was doing Black Man's Congregation with Black Male Talk. And I came up with my own channel, and I had like some assumptions about where these dudes were. And when I first came to the manosphere, like the dating coach thing was in full swing. Like this is before like an AMS. This is when I don't think even ARC was here. Maybe he was, or maybe he wasn't that big as he was, or whatever. But when I first got here, this is like when the whole like the Game Wars 1.0 stuff came around, right? And what it was is you had people who came online who wanted to fake like they were street affiliated, knowing full well that they wasn't street affiliated, right? And what this person has to know is that men came online to support failed men, to literally support versions of themselves that they would never support in the real world. Like they came online to big up these dating coaches because quote unquote somebody figured it out. And it's like, bro, you know full well these dudes are lying about all the stuff that they're talking about, right? Yeah, he was here, 2015. Oh, okay. Maybe he was here, but maybe he wasn't directly like interfacing with the manosphere at the time. Well, actually, you know what? When did we even ever get into an argument? Like that shit was weird too. But it's like, all right, so when I first came here, like this what most of these people were on, right? And a lot of these people were just lost at the time because a lot of these issues that these dudes have, you would be on the outskirts of society. You normally don't get a voice if you ain't got your stuff together. You normally don't get a voice. Like failed men don't get a voice. People with no access to women, they don't get a voice. They don't get to talk about how much they ain't got their stuff together and how much women's what they do. You don't get a voice in society like that. But men came in here to actually they made it seem like they was here for reasons why they wasn't going to be at the end of it, right? This is the first portion of they didn't need help. No, they wanted people to hang out with. They wanted people to kick it with. That's what it was. They wanted people to kick it with because they couldn't really hang out in normal society. I mean, to kick it in normal society, to go to somebody's bar, club, or establishment, you gotta have money to get up in there. Oh, okay. All right. He was on city during that time. All right. So you have to realize that the people who wanted to kick it, the people who were here for entertainment, they needed a place way more than men who wanted to get their stuff together. Because with all this advanced information, at this point in time, it wasn't even about the information because they got this quote unquote information and then they didn't do anything with it. They didn't do anything with it. Did these dudes actually get to the women that they was complaining about? No. No, that wasn't the issue. They wanted to find other people just like them. And it didn't matter how true the information was. They was never going to put this information into action, no matter what it was. And you have to be honest with that. And the person just couldn't believe it when I broke it down. I'm like, man, look, these people, like I could go to any of these do streams. And it's not about being over here on my channel, by the way. Like I said, I'm not trying to save these people, right? Like I could pull up streams from 6 years ago, and you'll see these same people cycling around the same conversation about women 6 years later. 6 years later. And the problem was is that they wanted women to take better actions with the information that they had about them. That's what the wildest part was. Like in any situation or in any type of information context, there's supposed to be some practical application about what you actually have learned. There should be a way that you actually understand the efficacy of the stuff that you was around. Yes, many of these dudes did want to see a hero of a person who quote unquote had it all together or whatever. But even that stuff wasn't even true. Because these people just wanted to hang out with people who were quote unquote winning at this system. That's literally what they wanted. I'm not sure why they wanted that, but that's what they wanted because you have to realize the whole hanging out piece is not about getting things done. The hanging out piece is about staying in stasis so that way things won't get done. Because if you spend most of your life in this life experience not taking any action, not taking action becomes normal to you. Being stagnant and stuck and sitting around the same conversations becomes normal to you. And they're like, all right, so why'd you do the live streams when you first got here? Because I assumed that they didn't know the information. I literally assumed that until I started paying attention to the analytics. This is back then. Start paying attention to the analytics. It's like, wait a minute. These people go listen to this information and then they take the ass back over here and listen to this information. I'm like, these dudes don't need any help. They know all this stuff. They just wanted to keep hearing it from different people. And it wasn't the actual information because the information is pretty basic. But they kept wanting to hear the same information from different points of view. But that doesn't make any sense either because if you're not going to take any actual action with the information, you're not going to engage with the woman that you claim you want to be with. You already said that you don't want to take care of nobody's kids, which is understandable. But why would you want to keep engaging or hear other people re engage this person over and over and over again? Why would you come to a space that is meant for improvement and you want to squat on the space with bitch talk? But you have to realize that dude, they wanted acceptance. They didn't even want access. They wanted other people to hang out with who also don't get it. And their contribution to society is actually hanging out until other people actually fix these problems for them. Like when I did the actual stream about the following people can't really complain about the status or the trajectory of the space, dude, you have to realize that stuff is very true. The only thing that they're mad at is they cannot hide behind hanging out in this space. They can't hide it. You can't hide behind that any longer. You know all these answers by now, and it doesn't matter. Every time there's a new person on the scene who restarts the conversation around the dating and the relationships piece, all these same individuals rush over there. Why? It's another excuse to hang out at the bottom. It's another reason to restart the conversation. Another reason. When I put up this actual live stream like 6 years ago, when I was doing it, I was pointing out like, okay, this is what this person was on then. Like, no, they only came around because you had a bigger platform. So that way they can kind of peel off some of your people from your platform and get them on their platform. So that's what it was about. It wasn't about really helping men. It was about, okay, I'm going to grow my numbers and then I'm going to splinter off and do what I want to do. But I'm going to come in acting like I care about these issues. Then at the end of the day, I'm just going to flip the switch and then everything's going to change. And then I'm just going to leave these dudes behind. And I'm just going to take the people that I gathered with me. And I'm like, yeah, that's how that worked. Like what people do is they maintain these type of relationships with people behind the scenes. They see the bullshit that they own and then they act like they don't notice it. Like all this other type of high schooly type of bullshit. And it's like, dude, he was like, well, did they get what they want? I'm like, dude, they wanted to waste time. That's what they wanted to do. They wanted to waste time on remedial conversation. And they got what they wanted. And what they wanted wasn't the woman. They wanted the advanced information to complain about her without interacting with her. That's what they came here for. They came here for all the reasons for losing without even playing the game in their own life. So yes, they came. Dude, they barreled into the space under false pretenses. This is why it's very hard for me to trust, Kevin Samuels people. Very hard for me to trust those individuals. I'm talking about the fans of. Because if you were waiting on a woman to be humbled for you to go date the same crop of bad women that he was supposedly counseling, then there was a hell of a lot more wrong with you that the space can never fix. And people love the space when it was dysfunctional as hell, when anybody can just loosely attach themselves to the name Black Manosphere. They could run up an audience. They could talk about ignorant ass things. They can get these hugs, high fives, super chat, cash apps. I mean, but you're talking about people who's not used to making any money or getting any adulation at all for their efforts on any level. And then they come online and they play this character online. Then all of a sudden they're getting compensated for it. I'm like, you think giving attention to a bitch that don't need it is a problem? Imagine what happened when you give attention to a bitch ass nigga and he doesn't need it. That's an even bigger fucking problem. Again, guess what people supported? You're like, oh, you should have bigger than my blah blah blah. I'm like, dude, I'm not marketing my shit that way. That's the problem. I'm not marketing it that way. I'm not marketing to broken men. I'm not marketing to that. Yes, and it's a specific position to market to those type of people. Hold on a second. Let me give a shout out to people who are in here. Hold on a second. Go to the top. What's going on, Mom Perry? Pork Chop for Pride, Sheet, Ike, AO, Rono Song, The Gone. Hopefully that's Sexy Red. It just says Red, period. Changing your name or something? What's going on, Cynical One? Uh, uh, uh. Juju with the heart. What's going on? I've seen her somewhere before. All right, make sure you hit the like button upon coming in. All right, but this is just where these people are at. Again, women can only help women address their problems. Men can only help men address their problem. Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. I know I recognize it somewhere. I don't think you can sue for lost edges, man. I don't know about that. It's gone Flacco Rich. Yeah, so that's where we was, and it's kind of like, how do you have a correction for men when men want to be led by bitch ass niggas? How do you help women when bitch ass niggas want to actually argue with women, not engage with them, not interact with them, just want to argue with them? So it seems like the male space and the female space has been supplanted by the Bravo Alpha November, known as the bitch ass nigga. So how does this work? Or what's the end goal? What is the end goal? Okay, so how do you go from having all this information to going to new people who are talking about the same mundane bullshit all the time? Like, how do you keep making this mistake over and over again? I truly think now that, because remember, everybody cared about image at some point. Remember that? When everybody cared about image, that's what they wanted. Remember when everybody cared about image, where everybody thought that, you know what, these women have been destroying our image and reputation for years. You know what we're going to do? We're going to bring our asses online and we're going to do the same thing that they were doing. But that was a piece of the image piece that they actually wanted. They wanted the ability to influence those same individuals the same way. They wanted to help these people get their stuff off about this woman, which the only thing they were actually doing was trolling their own lives for the most part. Because everybody went from having no experience to women, and then all of a sudden everybody came online and everybody had the answers to women. And these dudes had so many answers to women that they spent the premier getting with women time hanging out with other men online for 5 and 6 hours at a time, all overnight. You remember the Saturday night overnight live streams? This is before, people start calling themselves Blizzard Kings, and you're right. Cuts. They were coming back to the table, and COVID hit, and they were just gonna. The women gonna need to keep their bed warm with a thirsty ass dude. Like all this other cry shit was crazy. Then you had rapping attorneys come through here helping dudes get their shit off about these women. And then you would have the actual people who listen to these actual individuals come to you and try to pretend like they wasn't showing up to those panels when I can see clearly what those panels were about. It's like, okay, so you get your shit off about this woman that you're not interacting with. Then you feel good about yourself. Then the live stream ends. Then you have to go back to your life. And this is how you get caught up in needing 24 hours of the lying Itmore. This is how you need 24 hours of that. Because remember, you haven't solved the problem yet. And the problem keeps popping back up the moment you realize you got to go back to polite society. Yes, now that you don't even feel like a human being. Remember, you don't feel like a human being is because you felt so much acceptance online for people who wasn't trying to help you solve any problems. Then once the live stream ended, you had to go back to your regular life, and regular life was just too much for you to deal with. So you needed an outlet, an escape from the real world. And keep in mind, the people who wanted to destroy this space are the people whose lives was not going anywhere. So now you have to realize, wait a minute. If they deliberately market it towards people's lack of information that they have in society to get an audience, if all these people can go behind the scenes and decide to create their own algorithm by keeping conversation focused on bitch to the point now to where if you even try to tell somebody that you're part of Black Manosphere, they're going to assume that you're part of some Kevin Samuel shit. I'm like, no, that's not true. There's a history here. And then the people became so invested and involved in what they thought the Black Manosphere was. Now they feel and look stupid as shit once you let them know that they was not really interested in productive men either. Because if they did, they would know about channels about mine. You wouldn't have just stopped at, oh, the complaints about women and that's the end of the tables and end of the story. Most of these people who ran up their own numbers talking shit about the manosphere, they know about my channel. But at the end of the day, those individuals are not trying to solve any problems either. Because men are only focused on when they're doing things that they're not supposed to be doing. Men really don't get any respect, attention, or accolades when they're doing something that they're supposed to be doing because that's not what the culture actually supports. The culture's always been for that. The culture always spends most of the time trying to help people who don't need help at all and actually spend no time and give a heavy deal of neglect to individuals who are doing what they're supposed to. So again, once the space starts functioning the way that it's supposed to function, things can work fine. But what happens when you have the majority of men who don't even want to work toward an operational society? What happens when you have 9.5 out of 10 men who's more attracted to fuckery and bullshit than they are things that can really help the so-called society? But that's what the issue was. Because see, to these people, it was about creating a space for Bravo Alpha Novembers. It had nothing to do with helping men. Because these people did not want to help men. They can't work with men. They're never seen around men. Nothing. These people are the exact opposite of men. And that's most of the problem too. Is you have people who want the title of masculinity, the title of manhood, but they don't want to do the man shit that's associated with it. They think being an extremely effeminate person with random women names in your mouth, that's somehow masculine to them. Entertainers, people who leverage, collective ignorance for cheap laughs, that's what's masculine to them. The ability to not be responsible for anything. That type of shit became masculine to them. Now, there's a level of masculinity that you cannot meet out in the real world, by the way. It's very hard to be taken seriously in the real world if you act like an online stereotypical YouTube character in the real world. Nobody would have you working for their actual business. You pretty much wouldn't even have any type of social circle because you would have to consume people within that social circle in order for you to stay afloat. As you see here with various members of groups here within this space, various subgroups of group within the space, you've seen the shit all the time. The same people who's worried about immigration, the same people who's trying to take the entire world hostage by saying that, oh, they're not going to vote and they don't want to participate in society. Pay attention to me. I'm going to create this hostage situation that you're not going to get out of. Because guess what happens in the hostage situation if you give them what they want without any effort or work? Then they'll just keep taking more and more hostages. And this is why most people don't respect hostage takers in the first place. Because if you give these group of people something for acting crazy and doing something deliberate, then you're going to have to give everybody something when they do that. That's why it's always the best policy just to not even ignore these people. Just let those people fall to the wayside as a loss. So that way you don't have to keep going into this concentric circle of trying to please these people over and over again. No. Creating a manuscript list, that was totally a black man being brutally honest thing. Because he doesn't have anything really to talk about. So creating an actual list of sorts and not doing this proper research, which a lot of people were actually pretty mad at, by the way, was a way for inserting himself into the conversation and having people come to him to put their name on a manuscript list or not on a manuscript list when he doesn't even do manuscript content himself. He doesn't. Could you please explain to me what the fuck are you talking about? John Amos, could you explain to me what in the fuck are you talking about? When have I ever fucking said what you just said that's on the screen here? Actually, John Amos, I don't want you to be anything but the fuck out of my face. Capitalism, everybody can't make it. Everybody can't make it. Like, dude, listen, man. Dude, you're right. I don't want you to make it. You're 100% correct. And no, I'm not going to put you onto my fucking company and put myself at risk, and neither should anybody else. If people are asking dumbass questions about capitalism and all this, dude, just get them out of here. What's going on, Deion Davis? Like, these dudes are so far behind. Any talk about leaving their ass in the dust and disassociating them with our group, it's the only way these things can go. But let's go back to this group. No, the list wasn't supposed to help the space. The list was supposed to actually put markers on everybody else within the space. That's what it was. That's what its design job was supposed to do. That's what its design job was to do. But this is why you never seen, for the most part, you don't see people in the manosphere trying to be interviewed nowhere by no business people because they see what has happened here and they don't want these people associated with trying to promote this shit. Oh, so MOT, what do you want to be the president of a space that don't function? I'm like, no, the space functions fine. It just says there's something wrong with the clientele. There's something wrong with the clientele. There's something wrong with the people before they got to the manosphere. Any unpoliced group that has attention going towards it, if the group is unpoliced, you're going to have a lot of people claiming that group. That's flat out the way it is. Because remember, a lot of these people ain't got no principle. If you ain't got no principle, you ain't got no type of skill, guess what you're going to try to do? You're going to try to actually close the gap as soon as possible. You're going to try to close the gap as soon as possible. You're going to walk in like a bull in a china shop. You're going to try to wreck and destroy every single brand so that way you can put yourself ahead of the other people. That's exactly what happens. And yes, there was something wrong with these people before they even came online. Because these people were largely unimportant hanging out in their neighborhoods. Being on disability, having a minimum wage job, and just being overall being ignored by society. The problem was they wanted to turn their actual shortcoming about what was happening in their life. They wanted to change that shit into complaints about women. That's what this whole complaints about women shit come in at. It isn't the fact because there are legitimate concerns for the far younger generation. But those legitimate concerns are not cleaned up by everybody trying to push their shortcomings off on lack of access to women. And then you have a group of men who lie to you about the lack of access to women. And then they claim to be experts. Then you have personnel who sit around in round tables with women that they're not going to be with and ask them simplistic questions. Now that's a level of productivity. But the people who are paying and the people who are tuned into these things also ain't got their shit straight. So now we created an entire system where there are people who want to tune into the pearly things or the crimson cure lady rather than going out there and getting actual experience with actual women. Because they actually think that getting inside a relationship, you're going to have your counterpart agree with everything that your preconceived notions say. And that's not the case. Now you create another level of codependence that wasn't there before. You had no experience, and now you replace no experience with codependence. And the codependency that you have is on some shit that's not even real. Now you can't return back to the real world. Now you're hooked on this shit forever with no way out. How do you get access from that? How do you get access from hanging out with men that can't get you to women, listening to women that can't give you access to women. How's this stuff supposed to be resolved at some point? This is what I mean by being in the space 8 fucking years with no change in conversation. Like this content, dude, I was over and done with this shit in 2 years. I went over that shit 2 years, three at the max. Oh, okay. So you created another channel. Ah, well, at least you asked the question in a far more uh, logical way. What do you mean? Well, I can give you the blueprint. It's very easy. It's 4 steps. First of all, you're going to have to gain a skill of some type. You have to go get training, and then your training, if you maintain your relationships properly, you can turn it into a 1099 situation. And if you do good work from the 1099 situation, you could turn it into a small business and then you grow your business from there. But everybody doesn't need to be a business owner. I only became a business owner is because I got fucked over. And I could treat myself better than other people can treat me. That's the only reason why I run the company that I run now. It's because I gave a person a 2 week notice before I actually resigned from working for them. And on my last day, the day I was supposed to get my check, that dude kept that check and 2 other checks. So he took 3 weeks of my wages, which turned out to be like $4,500. $4,500. 4,500. So what I did, which I didn't know, is that if you're working 1099 and there is a labor-based decision process, at the end of that process, the labor department is only going to mandate that employer pay you minimum wage for every hour that you worked at the maximum. Because remember, you don't have the same rights that you have as an actual employee to a company. Because at that point, I was probably making like 1,900 a week. After taxes taken out, probably have 1,500 total. But since he kept 3 weeks of checks, it was like more like 5,700 in pure money and probably $4,500 in take home. You know what they gave me at the time? They gave me 3 weeks. This is how much they gave me. You could do the multiplication for yourself. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. So, when my case was over with, they gave me 40 hours a week at minimum wage, $7.25. That equals $290. Time 3 is $870. That's how much I got back from that situation. $870. That's when I created my own company after being screwed over like that. And of course, it was from a black dude. Of course, it was from a black dude. No shit, it was from a black dude. Yeah. And so that's when I created my own company. I already had the premier things down. I already had a CDL. I can easily get a piece of equipment at the time. Small trips, I know it. But that's what happened. And that's how I owned my own fucking company. And it's embarrassing as fuck to fucking look at, but at the end of the day, that's the shit I had to go through. Yes, the 1099, the leveraging the skills, the getting my own equipment, mostly saving my own money, building contacts and relationships, staying away from bullshit ass people while I was building this shit. Didn't bother trying to hire any of these older ass individuals and young ones too. Because a lot of these older individuals, they see your actual progress that you can make, and they'll jump on your shit just to mess it up. But that's what happened. And that's the blueprint. Like the blueprint ain't hard. The thing is that when people ask stupid ass questions like what is the blueprint of being successful, you're asking to be bullshitted. You're asking for a shortcut. You know what the blueprint is. The blueprint is no different if you have a sport. If you can play a sport, you have to get yourself in front of people. You have to make the team. You have to be able to produce. You have to win something. You have to distinguish yourself among the group. All those things. They do that shit. Listen, most of the shortcut books sell the most. Most of the books on shortcuts to get rich, man, like, okay, you could just type in cheap real estate for free. You'll see videos with thousands of views of people trying to shortcut the process. But you got to have a specific skill in order to do this. Didn't we see this in June? We saw this in June when there was a guy who lied like he was in the IT field. Turns out he wasn't in the IT field. And this dude would do anything possible to leverage anybody else's credibility that he possibly could to fake like he was in the actual field. You had that shit going. You literally had that going within the space. And then you had this individual try to lie to other IT professionals. Yeah. But that's what it is. And I mean, like, you don't need a blueprint like that. The only blueprint you need is like a skill set. That's the shit, the skill set. And I'm not talking about entertainment. We're talking about women. I'm talking about a true, honest skill set that people need. HVAC, air conditioning, being a mechanic, dental cleaning. I'm talking about an actual tangible skill. IT, I'm talking about like help desk and programming, like actual skills that people need. You can look up in your own state online. What's the top 10 least filled jobs that pay a lot of money in this state? Boom. You'll get a whole list of it. And if you look for the past 5 or 10 years, it's still the same list. Still the same list. With probably free training at a community college that you can sign up for. Yeah, man. Six-figure Moby Dick. This dude was out whale hunting, and next thing you know, he's sitting in the IT office. But that's the problem. They always want shortcuts around shit. You're damn right. Without a college degree, they're gonna go through 4 or 5 rounds of interviews, and they're just gonna get hired over other qualified people in the same field. That's right, man. Ahab went from hunting that fucking whale to being in cloud computing just like that. That's what I mean by wanting to cut shortcuts and wanting blueprints, so that way they can try to remix the shit, try to jump in there right away. Like, nah, man, that shit take a while to do. Even if a person switched career fields, they're still bringing all the skills with them that they gained from the previous career field and hopping into something else new. But what happens when you have a whole bunch of people who coagulate together and that's all they want to do? They could not wait to push their responsibilities off on the world to fix. Yeah. So what you do is you do content that doesn't bring these people around, because I don't have these people around in my regular life either. There's no need to have them around. What's your bottom line? What are you trying to make better? Or what are you trying to make worse? Are you trying to make any progress? What's the actual timeline? What is the actual timeline? Because listening to relationship artists and bullshit hucksters and game talk and red pill women, like, dude, that's not going to get you anywhere. It's definitely not going to get you any skills. But it's always somebody else's fault, isn't it? If it ain't immigrants, it's the Democrats. If it ain't the Democrats, it's the fucking gays. If it ain't the gays, it's the fact that you don't see pure 100% masculine men in fucking entertainment. It's always something, isn't it? It's never the fact that you ain't doing what you need to be doing out here. It's never that. And trust me, these people complaining is a damn good thing. It is a damn good thing. They don't understand that most of keeping money is about accountability. Like, a lot of people don't even know that shit. Most of keeping this money is about accountability. Most of these dudes want to get it fast and spend it wrong. Get it fast and spend it wrong. It doesn't work. And then they want more productive individuals in society to leverage their shortfalls and their shortcomings. That's why they want to come together. No, man, you don't let broke people tell you about coming together, because somebody's sitting at the table and somebody's on the menu. Now, you better be conscious that you're not at that conversation when it's happening. Until you learn that they're never going to get to their end point, because they can't even chart this stuff out on a vision board. Chart this out on a vision board. You come to the Black Manosphere to discuss women. You go from discussing women to discussing women on another panel. You go from discussing women on another panel to listening to the same conversation on another panel. Now you got 24 hours where you're tuned in, at least 18 of them, listening to the same thing from different points of view. You just created a new sport. Trust me. Setting up alerts about your favorite sports team rather than keeping up with this bullshit on TV or watching it every time they come on or watching Sports Center every time they come on or watching these top 10 whatever sports ESPN bullshit every half hour every morning. Like, dude, if you cut all that out of your life, dude, you got a lot of time to focus on you. A lot of time. I'm at this point, Sheed. I'm more like pick one. IT ain't the only thing that out here. But guess what? Everybody can complain, but can't nobody take a specific path on ending these complaints. If the women were as big as a problem as you say it is, then maybe you should be putting in a whole lot of work so that way you can get access to different groups of women in different areas. Wouldn't it make a whole lot of sense? Or you can not do shit and you can wait for them to give up power. The power of infinite dick that you gave them by you not having your shit together. Yeah, infinite options and choice is supposed to make people not settle. That's literally what it's supposed designed to do. But it's always the weakest people who keep offering more and more. Why would they settle when they got even weaker people with bigger wallets offering them shit and they don't even have to put in anything to get it? You destroy the entire ecosystem at that point and you gotta leave. This is why groups of men complaining is an incredibly bad thing. Because they ruin the actual franchise for all the other men who are out here doing what the hell they need to be doing. And you can tell the women who are like saturated in bitch ass nigga energy, they can't even operate around men either. They worse than the bitch ass niggas. The women who become worse than the bitch ass niggas who are saturated around this weak ass man energy. You can't even interact with them for the most part. But hey, if you have infinite ability to never be held responsible and you treat what you don't like with abject disdain and you get more of it, what do you what do you think's supposed to happen? Again, so if you're not going to pursue any skills, you're not going to change any of the laws. You only want to be pandered to by people who's not going to give you anything. I mean, you had literal men say this. You had literal men who actually said, "Well, I just want to be pandered to." I'm like, you don't care whether the shit's true or not. You just want to be pandered to. You just want to be pandered to. I'm like, dude, being pandered to doesn't make any sense. But that's what happens when you don't live in the actual. What's going on, Anthony Shawnee? Listening to MOT is like listening to the new Andre 3000 flute album, Serve Purpose. I didn't know Andre 3000 even had albums. People just calling him like the top rapper when he didn't have an album. Man, look, people said that shit. People said that shit. I'm telling you, people were saying that. People were saying that shit. Seriously, they were saying it. They just want to be pandered to. Just Bob Bowman, you're right. If you just want to pan, but they tune into people repeatedly that don't. Yeah, but what happens if this is the only way that you can interface with the world is through entertainment? Everything to you has to have an entertainment edge to it for you to actually pay attention to the shit. Everything has to have neon lights or intros and shit before you pay attention to it. So now you're expecting the information to present itself to you like it's something that the information has to convince you something of. Okay, I'll buy that argument. I'll buy that argument. But you got to understand that you have got to socially ostracize these men as soon as possible. I'm telling you, you got to be able to get away from these people as soon as possible because the only thing they're going to do is they're going to come around you and they're going to sap the life force out of you. They're going to pump you for, well, let's not use the word pump. They're going to actually come to you and ask you about answers to everything. And then all the answers that you give them about doing things, they specifically are not going to do any of those things that they just asked you. I ain't even heard of it yet. I ain't heard it. I listen to it for free if it's online, but I'm definitely not buying no nigga music. No, sir. You get no compensation. But that's currently where we are. Like, you have to understand that these people were supposed to be not celebrated throughout society for talking about women. They're supposed to be languishing in these circumstances that they created for themselves. They're not supposed to be here trying to wrap themselves within manosphere clothing and take themselves to other groups, drawing attention onto our group. They ain't supposed to be doing that. But you're always going to have people who come into an unpoliced group trying to drag stuff their way. That's what natural saboteurs are. That's the only thing they know how to do is sabotage shit. The very people who are complaining about the quote unquote status of the space are the main saboteurs of the very space. But that's just where we're at this point. Look at it. This stuff has a very clear way out of it. First of all, you get yourself dude, we laid out the blueprint. Dude, like the blueprint is right in front of your face. The blueprint. You got to get the fuck offline. That's the first thing. You got to stop wasting all this time online with this relationship conversation. The relationship conversation doesn't get you in relationships. It builds your anxiety level to when your ass is even in a relationship. It's meant to make you single and raise your anxiety level so that way you can try all this stupid shit out and remain single. That's what it's supposed to do. It's going Ryle. How much time do you got to hang out online 18 hours, listen to the relationship conversation? When are you actually meeting these women? When are you actually interacting with these women? What's going on, Lonzo? Yeah, man, that was a dynamite drop earlier, man, about that crypto shit, about how that dude got all them years for money laundering. I got whole Bitcoins. But I got whole Bitcoins like when they didn't cost that much. It's gone, spiritual logic hope. And I dare not to surf back into that stuff ever again. Because I felt stupid even buying it at that point. This is where, people had Bitcoins on like their hard drives, and when people was accepting Bitcoin over Craigslist, like that's when I bought my Bitcoin at that point. So you got to ask yourself, okay, so what's the end point of people who deliberately put themselves on this process of listening to all this stuff that they cannot engage? How does this stuff end? Okay, so you try to listen to all the hustles that you could possibly can, and you try to engage that stuff, and it don't work. You're still online hanging out with people trying to feel better about your life. Yeah, that early. That early. Okay, so they're never gonna get their stuff together. That's the real end of it. And the only thing is, now they're trying to look for an actual person to impregnate to justify them losing. That's what it is. They're looking for a woman to impregnate to justify them losing. Now that the women have moved on to far more productive men, now they feel mad and pissed off at the actual level of things that they invested in. That's why people who talk all this game bullshit, they they never can be holistic about anything because everything means anything at any other point. And you can't be able to have no relationship, especially business or otherwise, with somebody who just want to switch it up and change it up on you whenever they feel like it. Like that stuff's never gonna work. But the point is, we've made an actual society out of tolerating the presence of these individuals, allowing these people to breathe among us. We've wasted a lot of our potential on non-viable people, and you got to change. And you got to turn that around. Listen, any one of my cousins call me. You see, that's not my job to worry about that. That's not my job to worry about what women choose. That's not my job to worry about what women choose, my man. You're getting to be productive for your own sake. You're not getting to be productive so a woman can choose you. Women choose men weaker than them all the time. When those women choose weak ass men, they don't be with them a very long time. Be productive for yourself. Well, culture women are required to pick productive men. Because just move on to cultures that actually respect that. No, okay, so let me clean it up. They're moving on to dudes who clearly ain't shit overall. They're moving on to men that have at least some type of resource attainment. Well, I guess I shouldn't say productive. I'll say a little bit more functional, like making money a little bit more functional than other people, but they just straight up ain't shit with no prospects. So I guess I'll use functional versus productive. So that way I won't. So that way it's not confusing to me when I bring it up. and it's not confusing to y'all when y'all hear it. That's my bad that I did not actually make that very clear. So you are correct, and I was wrong the way I did say it. But that is the way I'm going to clean that up because that's what I meant by it. Like as soon as my cousins start going into this shit about how they dealing with some woman, man, I hang up the phone immediately. I don't even want to hear that shit. I don't want to hear about what women that you chose, that you allowed to be around and be on all that bullshit, dude. I don't want to hear none of that shit. This is an interesting statement. When people tout PhDs, be very clear they are really pro-blacks. They know the space is anti-black, so they hide behind PhD credentials, and PhDs are pro-Keisha. They want to save the community. I don't think they want to save the community at all. I think they want to be dependent upon the community. I don't think they want to save the community. Because if you want to save something, that means that you're going to be trying to make it better. I don't think these people have the capability to even want these people to be better at anything, to be quite honest with you. Right. I don't think these people are even capable of wanting these people to be better. Because remember, they exist within the inverted pyramid. They are at the top, and every subsequent level and arc after them is going to be worse off than they are. What's going on, Scott H? No, I mean, hey man, I could drop the link. This is an interesting conversation here. Hold on a second. I could just drop the link. You could just come up. We ain't got to do this in the chat. This is a pretty interesting concept. You could just come up because I think I know where you're going, Rael, but I slightly disagree. I think they want to be codependent upon the broken people here. I don't think they necessarily want to help these people be better than them. That is exactly what I'm saying. Because these people who clearly destroyed the community before, they can't just be on their high horse rolling in like how the Grinch stole Christmas and start giving out presents and shit when he just took all this shit away from these people in the first place. Like I don't think you got a bunch of magos ready to just ride in and like give away presents to people after they just stole all that shit. Like I don't think they're doing that. No, they sure don't. They sure does not. I mean, you got insects and reptiles and other mammals that can formulate better relationship than these people around here. That's why I don't even talk about the relationship shit. It makes absolutely no sense to me. I mean, but these people hang around academia because it's the only place that's going to accept them with their affirmative action higher status. They never go into any type of hard sciences. They never teach any hard science type courses. They always teach some elective based bullshit. And they don't own foundations like they're supposed to. They don't do all they don't do a whole bunch of stuff that they could be doing. Like I didn't know about any of this stuff until I started paying attention to the PhDs who actually graduated from my high school in my actual class. Most of them women, by the way. I seen like all these organizations that they had and the things that they was actually doing in the community, the actual studies that they was actually writing on actual health and actual fitness and the quality of food and all this kind of stuff. And they were making changes themselves. We're talking about people in my generation. And then there was the other bullshit class of PhDs who just went out here slinging this pro back bullshit on the chitlin circuit. Then you had those type of people, much to which like you have online. Yeah, that's true too. But at the end of the day, Ryle, like those people are not trying to see better people. These pro-blacks ain't trying to see better people because better people, more informed, more participatory, more productive individuals are not going to listen to that shit once they get there. Like they are codependent among a broken people who's never going to get it. They are clearly codependent upon people like that. Clearly codependent. They probably want to see them do well enough to where they don't lose their voice. But see these people do better than them? I don't think they ever wanted that. That I do agree with. Because a lot of these people just want to be the voice of broken people. They don't want to offer them any type of pathway or anything else. Like like not knowing that you have to get a skill and get out here and be productive. That dude, that's something that you knew a long time ago. You know what? Some of them might be doing that starting tomorrow after they get through damaging the community for like 20 something the other what 51 weeks out of the year they want to come through with the turkeys. I don't know about the Tariq thing, man. Like, I mean, I, I know the history. This is how come I didn't need to watch any of the movies. But at the end of the day, this whole no voting shit, man, like I don't get that shit. I don't get that. I really don't get that. I don't get how the no voting shit ends up giving you more political power. I don't know how that even works. Shive turkeys. Yeah, man, but that's I mean, because this stuff pretty much boils down to do you live in a functional area where you can mount natural defense against some of these things happening in society? That's what it boils down to at this point. Because a lot of these people just want to leverage the fact that they didn't have a bad start, therefore there's no reason for trying because they wasn't given like some type of what's going on, Larock? Because they wasn't given an actual start that is ideal for them. So that way they don't want to participate in the system at all. I'm like, nah, man, like you got to be able to stop trying to leverage other generations' non-participation to turn it into your own participation. What's going on, AM1? I can't see you in the chat, obviously, but what's going on? Yeah, but this stuff is really a cry out for help. Yeah, I don't know what that means, man. Like when people say that they're a cultural conservative, like man, that should make me want to knock somebody's head off, man. When they say they're a cultural fucking conservative, like what the fuck are you talking about, man? It's a two-party system. Pick one. It's like, okay, well, what do I have to pick a side? I'm like, you pick a side all the time. What's your favorite baseball team? Are they in the AL or are they in the NL? You pick a side all the time. What's your favorite basketball team? Okay. Are they in the East or are they in the West? Okay. What's your favorite football team? Okay. Are they in the AFC or are they in the NFC? Like, what are we talking about here? The fuck you mean you don't want to pick a side? That's what I'm saying, man. Like, bro, like you pick sides all the time. It's just that, and then they don't even have the actual maturity to be able to know what's going on. So they ask these backwards troll ass questions. Okay, so what do you get when you vote there? I'm like, look, man, I live in a good area. Okay, it's a great area, and the opposite of that area, I don't live in. That's what that is. I don't want to live in Greeley. I don't want to live in Longmont. I don't want to live in Estes Park. I don't want to live. I don't want to live in Lyman. I don't want to live in Delta. I don't want to live in Rifle. I don't want to live over there off of County Line Road. I don't want to live. I don't want to live out there. I don't want to live anywhere in Colorado Springs that is not associated with the military. I don't want to live in Pueblo. I mean, there's places where you can compare the Denver metro area to that you clearly don't want. The only thing you have to do is look at the travel advisory as soon as it snows. Those areas that are permanently closed are the areas that you don't want to live in. I want to live in a place that has infrastructure and they're giving shit about how things work. Wow, that's crazy, Ryan. That's true. Like a lot of these dudes just want to reconnect with just hanging out with hood dudes without them robbing, stealing, or killing them. I think that's what it is for the most part. Because there ain't no way that these people went their whole life seeing these people not amount to shit and then want to come online and want to hang out with avatars of the same people. Like, I refuse to believe shit like that. I just do. I'm still trying to rationalize that statement, Rael, man. That's just kind of brain breaking, man. But yeah, but you can be in a 30-year marriage and listen to dumbass people, man, because people want to know a hell of a lot more about this situation that they don't need to know about. I don't give a shit about failed people. I'm not trying to learn about failed people. I'm not trying to do that. Oh, what's going on now? Yeah, that shit's crazy, man. What's going on, XC? And it's like, men come online to support cowards. Straight up cowards. But they want to take this fake hostage situation. Like, they want to support the wrong people, and then they want you to act like the wrong people, so that way they can sabotage your shit too. Like, nope. I just rather not have your ass over here. That's what I would. I'd rather things work. I'd rather things be functional, and I'd rather your ass not be over here. Yes, you can deliberately go out and set out not to do that type of content to attract those people. You can literally decide not to go to TikTok and find some woman that's out of pocket and play it in front of a bunch of thirsty ass fucking dudes that have them throw garbage at her and super chat you. You could literally not do that shit if you don't want to. You could do that. You can decide not to do that. Just like people can decide to listen to this live stream, dude, they can decide to do whatever the fuck they want to with their life. They could have been got these skills if that's what they wanted. The reason why they never skilled up because if they thought that they was better than the woman, then the woman wouldn't want them. That's the truth. For these sorry ass bastards out here, man. What's going on, Quiz and Prince? Yes. They thought if they were better than the woman, then the woman wouldn't want them and the world wouldn't respect them. That's the problem. Are you that sorry of a human being that you refuse to get your shit together because you want to hold yourself behind so a certain subsegment group of women to fucking respect you more for being weak? Man, that's some sorry ass shit. That's what I'm saying. There's a lot of business ideas out here, channels out here. A lot of them. Like I'm subscribed to a lot of real estate channels. People who are very, very, very good at what they do. Do they get views? No. Do they get views? No. A lot of these people are multimillionaires. They don't get no damn views. These people out here to give out the actual information. But the bullshit artists that are in real estate, selling like these get rich quick courses and all this stupid shit, that's where all the views are at. It's like the more legitimate you are, the more people don't even want to fuck with you. Yeah, what's going on, man? But that's what that is, man. These are just aimless dudes in very high number squatting on the manosphere. They're going to squat on the passport or travel movement because they're desperately looking for an identity because they didn't spend their life actually creating one. Now they see themselves circling the drain. Now they're trying to find them a place wherever you can. Or else, you can call yourself the real estate trapper or some shit. They'll listen to it if they have some hip hop connotation with it. Yeah. It's the way it be, man. That's the way it be sometimes, man. They don't have to worry about the black male vote. Black men don't fucking vote. The Republicans are not worried about the black male vote either. That's not their caucus. Yeah. Dude, you gotta connect your issues to what everybody else is talking about. You can't create a false hostage by saying, "Oh, the Democrats don't need the black male vote." I'm like, yeah. And who do you think changed these laws when it comes to a whole bunch of things? It's definitely not the conservative movement. They've been against all that shit. They've been against expunging records. They've been against the legalization of marijuana. They've been against all that shit. Again, it's all about where you start this fight at. I would say that. I looked at this article this morning. I looked at this article this morning, and dude, this is something that can be easily incorporated into the school system. Easily incorporated into the school system. Yeah, that's when he supported legalization when he left because there was a paycheck in it for him. Well, it's the same reason why they're talking about Donald Trump in the news. It's horse race politics. It's horse race politics. You shouldn't have to go around explaining democracy to people within a democracy. I don't believe in doing that shit at all. Yeah, I don't believe in doing that shit at all. Going to people, explaining the democracy to them, nah. And which is the same reason why Chris Christie is on TV, even though he ain't raising no money. Why? Horse race politics. He's there to attack Donald Trump. It's the same shit. What's going on, Ryle? Oh, man.
Peace, man. I was eating, man. That's why I didn't get up earlier. Yeah, man.
Lay out your.
Uh, I- well, my point earlier was just a very simple point. Was and you actually clarified it. What I was really saying, which was their agenda is no agenda. It's the appearance of one. That's the agenda. That's the true agenda. There is no agenda.
That's
Um,
what spiritual logic Hulk said. Like
and
they just talking to make it look like they have an agenda when they clearly
and
don't have one.
right.
It's kind of like I was playing the Black Avenger about the black male vote. I'm like, okay, if you sit out and these conservative judges getting there with lifetime fucking appointments, how did you win
So
when they
and that's
clearly are
what I'm
not on your side like that?
and so that's what I'm saying. Like like for example, like if your claim to fame is, well, I brought the PhDs here. Okay, cool. I have no problem with that. I don't have a problem with a PhD within itself. But that means you have to be saying something worthwhile for me to give a damn about. So in order for me to actually take you seriously as a PhD, I need to see what you publish. I need to see what you publish. Because you can get on the internet and say all this stuff about black men and black boys all you want to. That's fine. But your published work as an academic is going to show who you really are, what you really represent. And
Beyond
if
your
I don't,
dissertation, beyond your
yes,
dissertation.
writing your dissertation. So now, if I see your published work, if I see your published work, and there's nothing about black boys, there's nothing about black masculinity development, um, which would include business as well. If I don't see anything surrounding those particular topics, you're a fraud, and that should be easy for anybody that considers that presents themselves as a PhD. They should be able to present their actual published work because you have to present your work to become a PhD. Your peers have to review your work, whether it's in support of what you're saying or whether it's against it. Peer review doesn't mean it's necessarily in agreement with what you publish. It just
Correct.
means that people of that particular stature have reviewed it and say in their viewpoint whether they agree with it or not. So if there's nothing like that backing you, then you're just talking out your ass at this point because
Okay.
you can't come to a space like this and try to bogart on some like, well, I'm a PhD, y'all niggas better shut the fuck up and listen to me. But your work that's supposed to represent your viewpoint, since you're a theorist, then we need to see what your actual viewpoint really is, because every PhD is going to have a specific angle of their academic record that they're really focused on. I mean, you have Cornel West, he might be focused on a lot of theology or liberation theology, or somebody else might be focused on whatever. Like, you're going to have a specific kind of lane that you really want to really focus in on and hone in on, that's kind of going to be like your kind of specialty. Kind of like a doctor. Like a doctor, you can have you become a doctor. You could be a general doctor, or you could be a specialization. You could be a doctor that specializes in certain field, like cardiology or other types of things. So you have to show us what that particular work or that background is, so we can get a really better understanding of what your true position is, because that's what's required of you as an academic. If you don't have that, if you don't have that kind of record, honestly, we can't really even take you seriously, because you don't really stand for anything. Literally, you
Correct.
don't stand for
And
anything.
that's why they kind of credentialize in front of broken people who don't understand about their credential and the actual process itself. Like when I was in my PhD program that I did not finish, by the way, because there was no reason for it. Once I left DOD and the VA in specific, there was really no reason for me to go for a research based degree when I wasn't around medical people anymore. I had my own stuff to do after that. That's why I dropped out of the program.
Hmm.
But you have to understand that even with a PhD,
Hmm.
you can't give like the entire process is about writing the dissertation, where you're gonna go, how to use the system, how to challenge points. Because you have to do
Hmm.
like a rebuttal, because they're gonna challenge your point,
Hmm.
whatever it is. Because you're going for a PhD in a specific discipline, and they're going
Hmm.
to challenge your point
They're
no
gonna
matter
challenge
how
your
well
point,
it's written.
and you
Yeah,
can't cuss them, you can't cuss them out and go ape shit either when they do.
no, you can't do that. But at the end of the day, you still have to be in that field in order to do that. Like if you're not a child psychology or a medical professional, you really can't be out here as a PhD saying that you give a fuck about the outcome of black boys. You're gonna look stupid as shit trying to do something outside of entertainment and having these dudes eat out of your hand. You're gonna have medical professionals that's gonna kick you in the teeth the moment you start doing that type of shit. I was like, hold on a second.
Right.
If this is your actual field, where's your credential and how do you get to talk about it? Oh, the emotional labor of black men. Dude, they will unplug your microphone and get you the fuck off that stage.
Yes,
They're
they
not
will.
gonna listen to you doing this stupid shit. It's like, look, man,
No.
you're a credentialed individual, but you're not gonna sit here and bullshit these people like that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, when you had people like Dr. Clark, Ivan Van Sertimer, these type of academics, rest in peace to them, may peace be upon them. When you have these types of people challenging literally the notion of white supremacy, because they would literally debate people like Mary Lefkowitz and people who were
Yes,
literally trying to make the case for how white people are superior, they would have stacks of books on the table beside them.
yes, they
And
would.
a lot of times those books were theirs. It was their work. They literally actually had work. So they didn't they didn't come there empty handed. Like they came with research that they did. Much of that research that they did, they turned it into work. And
Yes,
so what you have to have a position in which you're operating from. You know what I'm saying? Like
especially as a PhD.
as a
Look, if I'm a
PhD, like that
PhD, I do any research. That shit is going to be an article, and it's going
article,
to be
yes,
published.
at
Minimum,
least an article.
minimum.
You know what I'm saying? That's minimum. So that's easy. So again, they if you're not bringing that, like you have to bring that to the table, man. Like the last thing that you can be is an academic who is not published. Like if you got a PhD and you ain't published, man, nigga, that's an agent, dog. That ain't no real
Yeah,
person.
yeah, it is.
That's not a
That
real
is kind of
person, dog.
strange,
That's not a real person, bro. Like there's no way you for real. Like there's no
bro.
way you can be a PhD and not be published, dog. This is impossible.
Now I can see like the Umar Johnson with the black boys and the education shit. He's credentialized in that area.
Yeah, he
But
is.
to
He
have
is.
all these other random ass dudes, randos with no credentials in that area, talking about or ruminating on the actual outcome of black voice, I'm like, man, that shit looks stupid as shit, man. Like, bro,
Dude, nah, bro. Like you ain't
it's
gonna you ain't dude,
crazy.
I've been in college around people who were pro black, who went to Africa, who went to visit griots and talk to them and ask them questions on how to best educate black children. And then come back to the school and start an institute connected with the school in how to bring education in inner city areas for black children. I've seen that
Yeah,
kind of work be done. So like
yes.
you can't
That's like
bullshit
what some
me, dog.
PhDs does, like from the school that I'm from.
Right. You can't
Okay,
bullshit me with that type of shit, dog. You just can't. Mm-mm.
so they teach at Valley or Jackson State. They write papers based off of the actual research that they run from the schools to like improve the food or improve the safety or not like the actual case need to be made, but more money being effectively spent in education when it comes to books and supplies and all this kind of other shit that leads to these outcomes. They compare it to other areas, like actual research in the actual field, especially if you're
Right.
like an ED, um, e- education. PhD, which what these people are specifically. There are some like medical people who do things for like medicine. You know, there's like another psychology psychological based person who talk about like the mental health piece. Like people who write these papers or do this research, they're actually credentialed in this area, and that's their job.
That's their job, right?
That's their
that's
job.
that's their let's take a step back. That's not their job. That's their profession. It's their profession.
Yes.
They are literal professionals. It's not a hustle. It's not even a job. It's a profession. They went to school. They set out to do this, and that's what I'm saying. Like you have to come from an academic perspective. You have to. This is not even our opinion. This is the facts.
You got to
This
be
is literally the
above,
facts.
dude. Listen, man, you got to be above the fray, and you shouldn't be mixing it up with niggas anyway. What are you doing hanging out with niggas online as a PhD? The fuck is that?
First of all, I knew, like I took a class in college called African American psychology. My professor had a program where he would go throughout predominantly black areas, low income areas, because his focus was group psychology. So he would
Yes.
implement certain programs that would try to help raise the consciousness of black people from a group perspective in terms of like social psychology. So I love this class. He was a great professor. And so when you're connected to college, for a lot of people who don't know, many of these schools are research, are research based institutions. So what does that mean? There's a lot of money to be had where you have the platform of a college. You have that. So the college is a nonprofit in most instances. So you have the setup in terms of the college to be able to use that platform to put out a book, to set up an organization connected through the school that you can get funding for, to bring awareness to certain types of issues that you want to address. And so being connected to that school gives you a lot of leverage in that,
Yes,
because
it does.
much of what colleges require you to do as a professor is not just publish, which helps elevate the prestige of the school, but
That's
also
correct.
they expect you to get grants as well. They expect you to write grants too to bring money into the school as well. And so from that particular perspective, you can enhance your own self in terms of what you're trying to push forward. This is why you have different types of black people who have institutes, who are educators in terms of people with PhDs in colleges, because they have put that type of work in. I was just watching a video earlier about Juliet Walker with University of Texas, and it's in the work that she's doing on the history of the black business class, which is phenomenal work. Her and Dr. Sibley Butler. So there's money to be had to really bring people into the know on certain issues, because a lot of times people don't know what the issues are that's really out here kind of plaguing communities. This is why the Brain Trust is constantly putting forth that type of information to connect people with not just the issues, but also resources to help resolve or bring solutions to those particular issues. That's what a lot of PhDs they do in college. That's their position. So they literally have to be in a position or the mind frame of solutions, because that's what their school is going to be requiring of them. Like, how are we going to address this? Okay, well, we need to go do some research on this. For example, like you could do research and say, okay, I want to do some research on black boys ages 5 to 12 and why their grades are so low. What is the disconnect between black boys and education that we need to see? And so then you get funding to do
Correct.
surveys and do studies and
Yep.
interviews, and then you come back with like, this is what we have. You compile the data, and then you say, okay, this is what we need to do to address this particular issue. We're not seeing that from the like. We're not seeing that. We're
No,
not
you're not seeing
seeing
that.
that,
No, you're not seeing that at all.
and
And
that's the
and
problem.
and, and when you could just nakedly say you brought these people to the space to just bullshit other people and waste their time, and it's like to nakedly just say sit there and say this shit like you did a great thing by bringing bullshit artists around here to further bullshit people online. I think that's some wild shit, man.
Yes, yes. And when you're looking for grant money, let's be very clear. The professional people understand this. When you are looking for grant money, people who are funding you want to make sure they're giving money to people who got some damn sense.
Correct.
They are
They're
not
gonna look at
giving
all
their
these
money to dummies.
associations. They're gonna look at your social media footprint. They're gonna see you on some the emotional labor of black men. They're gonna listen to this shit, be like, man, who the fuck is this dude, man? Are we really about to give our money to this fucking dude? Nah, we ain't about to do
Nah,
that. I mean,
nah.
but they don't formulate the actual portion. Like they do the coursework, they teach their affirmative action, fucking barely minimalist, not even needed fucking elective ass fucking class that doesn't need to be there. That could be easily absolved from being there rather than you
Yeah,
being a
it's just
tenured
easy money
professor or
to bring
not.
into the university. So
Yeah, yeah.
it's geez, it's like I mean, I could pay this professor 25,000 starting out to teach this bullshit class. They ain't really hitting on nothing, but I get 30 students to pay. I don't know for 3 hours. If it's a public university, that can be for one class. That can be $500-$600. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, you
you
can
got
make
30 people in the class. I mean, that's a lot of money. You know, so you start adding that up, like
yeah, yeah.
5 days a week. It's like, yo, multiple classes. Okay, you bringing a lot of money. And so again, like people don't understand like how this stuff is really working. And so, and these people are not telling you how it's supposed to work because now you could hold them accountable and say, look, I mean, as much as people might say they ain't like him, and one of the things he did say was like, yo, show your work, man. Yo, show your work, man. Like you got like if you're an academic, man, this is not in terms of trying to diss people or anything like that. It's literally saying if you support black boys and black men, then where are your programs from your institution that's showing that that's what you're about? Because if you telling me that you about black men and black boys, and if I see your publishing record, and your publishing record is talking about how black men want the white man's patriarchy, man, that's some yo you a sellout, bro. You a sellout.
Oh man, yo, what's
And
going
I
on,
have
Quizzy Prince?
seen a lot of dudes with PhDs that claimed they was pro-black or was pushing the black agenda, and they were all against the masculine development of black boys and black men. They were against it.
Like,
They
like once
published
I
it. I
hear,
seen it. I read it.
once I hear
I mean, that's
black
the facts.
agenda,
So
once I hear black
y'all got to
agenda,
be very clear, man, and who y'all listening to, and really like, I ain't just pulling stuff out my ass. Like I'm saying stuff I know. You know what I'm saying? I've been to college. You know what I'm saying? I understand how the process works. So, you know, at the end of the day, man, like these people, man, they gotta show and prove, man. Like that's just what it is. Like, if you about black boys and black men, I'm cool with all that. That's cool. But if your academic record is anything but it's nothing but criticizing, especially black men, um, on some silly type stuff, man, or talking about black men want white men patriarchy and all that type of stuff, man. Nah, bro. And I've seen pro black male professors talk like that. I've seen them, dashikis and everything. I've seen them talk like that, and
but that's just like a
it's
living.
ugly,
I mean,
So, and a lot of their
it's just a living
funding is
performance
tied
art.
into pushing more female centric narratives. So they're not really in for your interest like that. You know what I'm saying? It's not as much as many of them like to purport. They're not.
Yeah, but you got to realize that most of this stuff is just a living performance art because people don't read and people don't understand history, and nor do they understand what these people's actual jobs are, why they're actually there. Like, there's a lot of just miseducation. I mean, like modern miseducation of the Negro that goes on all the time. Did Brian just jump off? Yeah. Yo, what's going on, Christian Prince? What's going on, man? Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you now.
Oh, okay. How y'all doing out there this evening?
Oh, we're doing all right, man. We're doing
Peace.
all right. No, we're just talking about this particular subject about these people just Nah, man, you gotta let these people seek their own level, man. Like they're gonna walk in, they're gonna sabotage things, and then it ain't gonna work. Then they try to ask dumb questions about why things are the way they are. I'm like, all right, man. So, like, look, my analytics are not lying. All you do is just subscribe to all these bullshit ass dudes. Like, it's not a joke. Y'all leave productive man conversation, then you take your ass somewhere else and listen to fucking bullshit. Like, that's what these dudes do for the most part.
Yeah, I just want to just piggyback on to something. I'm down here in Charlotte, North Carolina, delivering load. I went, my sister. I went out. I just came from dinner with my sister, her brother, and a couple of my nieces. Well, they really ain't my niece. One of my niece, but anyway, and they was talking about things around Charlotte. Oh, the housing, how they tearing down all the low income houses and building all these townhouses, and I'm like, okay. Oh, the schools, they got all the people here, and they don't know how to speak English, and you don't understand. I'm like, okay. I'm like, it went on and on. I'm like, don't y'all know these like political issues? I drive a truck, gone all week, but every once in a while, I take a Tuesday off work so I can go to my town council meeting in the little small town I live in.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
these
this
are,
stuff ain't hard.
you complain about, regardless if you get in the Democrat Party or you want to jump ship to Trump in the Republican Party. If you do nothing, you're not going to get nothing. If you don't participate, you're not going to get nothing. You're just going to continue to get used.
Correct.
I don't know what to tell them.
I have a question because you've been to Charlotte recently. Did they ever get done with all that fucking construction out there, man? Because I stopped fucking with it. Like, man, I got caught up in Charlotte traffic like one time, and I was like, man, fuck this. I'd rather roll through this New York shit. Rather fuck with the Charlotte traffic.
It's still the same. They told I-77 coming down. It didn't make no big deal. Boy, trucks not allowed to be on the toll. It's just vehicles.
Wait a minute. They turned it into a toll road?
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hey, come on, man. Fucking toll road.
That's what that's another thing. I'm like, you complain about this stuff. Even the ones who was so-called conservative in the area that they told it through the high income area, Cornelius, Huntersville, they out there holding flags and signs talking about stop the toll. Too late. You don't put the governor in there. This in play now. Ain't no need. The one you put in there done made y'all have to pay that. Y'all have to pay that toll to get on that highway, or you just gonna be stuck in traffic.
I mean, the same bullshit happened in like Louisville, going to like what is that? New Albany, Indiana. Why the fuck is there a toll in the middle of downtown Louisville on fucking 65? That don't make no damn sense.
Middle downtown. I make deliveries out there in Louisville, and we got about 10 customers out there. I mean, chaos. I mean, that's why. I mean, it kills me, these so-called wannabe conservatives talking about small government. I believe I made a post here a couple months ago. If y'all tolls alone to make y'all think that small government costs,
that's what I'm saying.
Corporations get what they want, they're gonna toll every road. You're gonna be whining and crying. What we gonna do? You remember you didn't vote here 10 years ago, and they put it in place?
They're gonna cut taxes and they're gonna increase the fucking tolls on trucks.
They increase
That's exactly
everything. You go down there, get your birth certificate. It used to be about $10. Now it's $50. I'm mad. No, remember you let these people in office and they cut your taxes, and you didn't want to say nothing, and now you need them services. Now guess what? We're gonna get our money back somehow. They done raise the water bills. They done raise, but they cut taxes though. You got to bring home a little extra $25 a week. What did they do? I mean, yeah. I don't know how I can explain it to them. I mean,
that's why I don't even bother trying to explain democracy to people, because if you just want to increase the amount of things you complain about, the only way you can actually get that done is not to participate.
I was just reading the comment not too long ago. Somebody about John Boehner not he became
One, the marijuana legalization. Yeah, he stood
But
in
I
marijuana.
remember
Yeah,
John Boehner said something years ago. He said, "I don't care who get elected as long as we control the Supreme Court." But the average person, they ain't even gonna look at their own local judge. Where you think these judges be coming from? Little small towns where they done bigged up. I'm tough on crime. Okay, when they say tough on crime, who you think they talking about? And you just gonna sit there and not do nothing? Hey, that's on you. I'm straight. I pay my taxes. I'm a honest. I'm a good working patriot American. I ain't got to worry about that real fast.
and even though they actually legalized it across the board this time, like John Boehner was going to be like one of the 4 or 5 corporations that was going to be able to produce weed for the entire state. That's why I got knocked down the last time because they wanted to restrict it within 4 or 5 corporations' hands. Of course, large conservative, big donor ass corporations.
That part, but no, it's just all. I don't know, and it's not like it's out. It's not like it's hid behind some brick wall or something. It's out there in plain sight, plain view. They telling you what they gonna do. I mean, you ain't gonna
Because right
put
now,
to it.
yeah, because I think right now the state of Ohio sells marijuana now under the current system. But
No, not swing state conservative leaning hill Ohio. They ain't. I mean,
they do. Yeah, the state. I mean, you have to show up to a state office to go get it. It's like certain places across the state, but yeah, that's the way their current system is. I mean, that's what Mississippi tried to do, but Mississippi can't even run government properly, and they just decided to
trust me,
to have it medical, but then not have any medical places open to where it can actually be used.
Right, dumb shit.
Trust me, we got a plant over there in Houston, Mississippi. We deliver, we take product to, and trust me, I know what you mean by it's a sinkhole right there in, I forgot the town you had to go through on Highway 8 right there, coming down 45, alternate 45, and to get off the exit to go to Houston, and the same sinkhole been sitting there. I've been here 11 years, and it's been sitting on the side of the road 11 years. I mean,
oh yeah, no doubt, man. That's how we do down there. We don't fix the roads, man. We don't do that now.
But it's I'm beyond the point. It's beyond sad. I just laugh. I mean, how you gonna participate? You're not gonna participate in something, but you want something out of the system. Gonna jump. Now we jumping back to the Republicans. Oh, well, look, if you ain't gonna participate, they're not gonna do nothing for you. Then here 20 years from now, it's gonna be all about the Democrats. I mean, what? I'm like Big Worm on Friday about smoking. What the F that got to do with me? Somebody whining about trying to get a female to submit to them. What the F? What that got to do with me? Having a good payment.
Man, it sounds crazy, man. It sounds crazy.
You can't even. I mean, crumbling infrastructure. It's chaos when you go to the airports on certain stuff. I mean, don't y'all know like those are political issues that y'all don't need to be concerned yourself about? They gonna take your tax money and do what they want to with it, like it's welfare, and you ain't got nothing to say. Well, they gonna do what they want to anyway. Oh my goodness.
No. The whole point is to maintain the complaints, but by not doing anything. Go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah, I mean that's when we had when Judge Joe Brown was on the brain trust. Like, he was putting forth an economic plan for Memphis, and he was breaking down, utilizing the Mississippi River for this, and this type of infrastructure and things like that, and so when you see, there are a lot of people who approach politics like high school when they're voting for who's the most popular, and that's that's for people who are really politically ignorant. The people who are connected to the system, the way that the system actually functions and operates, because you have different types of people. You have people who are just here, and people who are here to actually get shit done. So when you're part of people who are trying to get things done, you understand departments and organizations and agencies and funding sources that can actually help you build grids and infrastructure that help you advance your group's particular interests. A lot of times when black people are approaching politics, they're not approaching politics like that. They're approaching politics based on whether they like this person or they love them or did that person make them feel good. So you have a very, very politically immature group of people who don't really have any interest. See, a complaint is not an interest. You can't say, "Well, the system ain't perfect." That's not an interest. that's that's not going to get you anywhere. You have to have an interest, and once you have an interest, then you have to surround your political actions around trying to get that particular interest satisfied. That's how you would interact with government. You bring your address address your not necessarily your grievances, but your issues to government. So if you're not approaching it from that particular perspective, you're going to constantly be the odd man group of people out because you don't actually interface with it properly. That's why people come to black people's churches and sing songs and hold hands with them. That's clear sign that you're not politically mature.
Yeah.
Because ain't nobody else doing that in other groups of people. The
Or
Hindus and
I was having a
the
house house in a person pulling it out. I'm like,
Right,
rah.
right. You know what I'm saying? Like Hindus are not having politicians come to the temple and meditate with them. Like that's not what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? So when you have a group of people who are speaking on your behalf of black people, and this is one of the biggest problems that black people have, they just let any riffraff or type of black person just speak on their behalf. There is no, and the reason why it's allowed to happen is specifically because there's no infrastructure from a collective sense that truly represents Black people interests, because a lot of Black people really don't have any interest. So what these people can do is just keep you emotional all the time and have you voting because they sold you out. They sold you out because they got their own personal interests as far as them and their family, and then they're just gonna get money. And then when you finally wake up 20 years later, that person has become rich off of just playing you like a simpleton, because that's really what you are. You're a simpleton.
Yeah, but they
Uh,
have to understand that any functional group have to have a level of exclusivity and order and minimum level of knowing what's going on in the area. This is why I just find it hard. This is why I just say most of the time, Colorado works fine. Colorado works fine. All this type of shit, Colorado works fine. Like tomorrow, I'm gonna go into this Trump being on the ballot or not the ballot, what these decisions actually mean, and how the last decision in Colorado isn't as good as people think the decision is, because there's two things that was on the ballot. Well, not the ballot. That was sued for is whether or not he engaged in insurrection, and the second was whether he can stay on the ballot. Yeah, they proved that he was engaged in insurrection. That and it's a four conservative, I think two independent panel, and that person just got in the office, and they ain't trying to mess up their elected career. So now they're going to be sending it up to the Supreme Court, where those people in the state, they're not elected officials, and they do have a lifetime appointment. At least we get our people out of there at 72 years old. I thought that was very, very nice of them. No, there is
hey,
an age limit. There is a cap.
and piggyback on something that we mentioned a couple minutes ago. That even came up in the conversation. I threw it out. I goaded them into why they were so easy to lead into the conversation. Oh, I don't like Al Sharpton. I don't like Jesse Jackson. Oh, I'm like, well, who? I hear a bunch of talking, but who's gonna be the next Al Sharpton 2.0? Or you just gonna sit right here and complain? You ain't gonna put Are you gonna stand out there on the front lines? Are you gonna do anything to help out to help out people? No, you're not. You're gonna sit here and complain. You don't hear people disgruntled with David Duke. You will never hear them complaining about him. No. He gonna fight the battles they need to fight, and they might say something to him behind closed doors. We don't like this. But y'all just chop somebody's head off. I said David Duke, he ain't got no problem with people donate to it. Make sure his family taken care of. What about your so-called just the few handful of black prominent leaders that we do have? You gonna donate to them? Nah, you ain't gonna do that. Y'all can't even get $1 a week together to donate to a candidate to get the sway them to pass a policy for you. I know I do. I gave my town council $100 for election campaign.
And here's the thing, man. Like, dude, like the government is selling out for less than $50,000 to $60,000 per issue. And we're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars can give like 50 cents to a cause and beat them out, and they don't do it.
I gotta pay back child support. Well, I tell you what you do. How about this? All the men who own child support, y'all get paid $5 a week since y'all already paying child support anyway. Just give that $5 extra. You can pick them off the ground. Pick up at least about a couple dollars every week. Pick that up off of pennies and nickels and dimes off the ground, and lobby congressmen to start getting these laws changed. No, that's too much called like work and thinking. We gotta organize. We gotta have some kind of standards. We gotta meet up every Friday. We're gonna meet up every Friday, 8:00. Man, I gotta go, man. Man, I'm going to meet up with this damn little female. Ain't that how you got in trouble in the first place? With child support, that same. I mean, but what do I know?
We gotta come to a realization, man, that throughout the entire history of this country, just like a lot of other groups, man, there have been different groups in Black America. Like this, I mean, we're constantly told that Black people are not a monolith. Okay, cool. That's fine. But then when that difference in viewpoint is brought to the fore, people are trying to make it seem like, well, Black people are supposed to think all the same on one particular issue. Well, that completely refutes what you're talking about in terms of Black people not being a monolith. Like either Black people are a monolith or they're not. If Black people are not a monolith, then at a certain point, there's going to have to be, me personally, I just think that a lot of the really Black people who really have good ideas waste their ideas on people who will never accept it. They're never going to accept it. They're just never going to, no matter how good it sounds, no matter how, again, like a lot of times, like we expect people to have our same value system and views because it's important to us. Yeah, it's important to us, but then you got to look at our background too. You got to look at our background. You got to look at the kind of families we come from, what kind of values they instilled in us. And so a lot of that stuff traveled with us until we got older. Now, I mean, you got the same type of people who have completely different value system. Now they're older. I mean, the likelihood of them changing that value system, it's relatively low. Can people change? Yeah, they can. But at the same time, you can't really put that weight on it like that. And it's okay. Like, it's okay, man, for people to say, you know what, like the nation, like let's take it back to the Nation of Islam, for example. The Nation of Islam did not support, man, the civil rights movement. They had they're very specific reasons why they said that particular strategy is not the way to go. Like, we don't believe in that. And they was very adamant about about why they didn't support it. You hear what I'm saying? And so, and it turned out that a lot of the stuff Malcolm was saying back then, he was very much on point about. You know what I'm saying? And so it shouldn't take for something that Malcolm said in the 60s for black people to still be trying to figure out, like, well, how do we figure this out? Like, man, Malcolm said this in the 60s. At some point, black people, y'all just gonna have to like use your brain. Like, damn, you have people who already thought for you and did a lot of work for you on this type of level. Yo, look at what they're saying. Look at what they're talking about. And if you can use it, incorporate it, and make your lives better as a collective, use it. If it don't work, then don't use the shit. But the point is that you gotta understand like the trajectory, the understanding of where you came from and how you got to this point. This is what smart people do when they're trying to make some inroads and trying to make a change in their group. They figure out where they messed up at in their past. They make decisions on how to move forward. They drop the dumb shit that got them to that point, and then they press forward. I mean, it's really that simple. It's not really as complicated as a lot of black people make it, but I think a lot of people are making it complicated because they really don't want to do the work that's necessary because it is work.
And it's
It is
very
actual work.
easy work. And you have to show up. And like, dude, come on, man. You be in line for 45 minutes. You be in there for 2 and 3 minutes. You read the sentence. You hit the marker. You put your thing in there. You get your card and you deposit your card in the actual bin that says you voted, and you get your sticker and you leave. And but when you have people who want to maintain complaints, because that's what's going on here. It's like if they don't get it for free, it's not earned to them.
Thank you.
They owe us
Thank
some
you.
shit. They
Thank you.
owe us something. They should know what we want. And it's like, the fuck? That's not how this works. And it's like,
Right.
look, where do you live? Never gonna visit there. No problem.
Right.
If you I mean, because if you can live in a place like any place that would actually stomach you actually being there with this type of attitude, like we're not even part of the same group of people. And it's like a lot of people just have to be left out of it, man,
Yes.
because they're
Yes.
leaving us out of it by not
Exactly.
actually fighting effectively and not really participating. And every time you look around, they're trying to act like they run shit 5 minutes after they get there. And it's like, you know damn well you
Yo,
wouldn't walk into somebody's job doing that shit, man. Like you
you
get
said that
hired at
shit
a
a long
place.
time ago, bro. I never forget when
Yeah.
you said that shit, bro. You said that shit a long time ago, bro. You said, yo, I'll never get when you said this, but you was like, look, man, if you did your time, you paid your debt to society, I ain't even holding it against you. Like you did your time, that's what it is. You was like, but what you're not gonna do is show up like coming in on this rah-rah shit, like you running this shit and you don't even know what's going on. Like you need to
You
sit your
don't
ass
even know.
down. You need to sit your ass down and learn something. And that's what's be happening out here. Like we be having people, we literally be having black males in this space who don't do business at all, that don't understand business at all, don't understand how the game works, literally trying to argue with black men who are engaged in business. We have a
Yeah.
completely different perspective than you because it's a different game. Business is a different game. It's not theoretical, man. It is. It's work. You know what I'm saying? You're talking about creativity, organization, discipline, like a whole bunch of things, man, that you don't even understand. You over here talking some egalitarian bullshit, and we over here on straight competition, like with other men. Like, yo, what you talking ain't gonna suffice, man. That ain't gonna work over here. You know what I'm saying? That works in your theoretical bubble because you don't really gotta put it on the wood like that. You know what I'm saying?
And, and man, it'd be crazy, man. And it's like in the time that they waited to speak, they could have Googled what the topic was and what both sides of the issue are and where they should
Right,
stand at.
right,
They just walk up there, hey man, could you catch me up? Oh man, I don't believe any of this. It's like, man, why the fuck are you here? Why are
right.
you in front of the microphone? Why are you up here embarrassing all of the whatever the hell that you're a part of? And, and it's like it's the same shit. It's kind of like if you ever listen to these radio talk shows and you get these black people on, and the moment they want to do is they want to get all their shit off, no matter what the topic or
Mm-hmm.
situation is, and they have
Mm-hmm.
to get them the fuck off the phone. And it's like, bro,
Mm-hmm.
man, you can't be out here operating like that, man. Stick to the damn subject.
Especially as adults. Like I'm not when we have these conversations, man, we're not talking about 15-year-olds. We're talking about motherfuckers who are 30, 40,
40s,
50s,
50s,
even
60s.
60s. We gotta explain basic shit. Like if I'm in a place, man, where I gotta explain, like I'm not saying everybody's supposed to know everything, because that's not what I'm saying. Because I
No,
don't
of
know
course.
everything, and that's why we research, because that's us admitting that we don't know everything. But
Oh yeah.
we're talking about like sometimes some of the most simple shit, and a motherfucker sitting there arguing with you up and down. It's like, yo, what is the problem here? Like literally, like what is the problem here? And so a lot of times, man, this runaway ego shit, man, that I have to be right against you no matter what. And it's like, dude, you don't know what you're talking about. It's okay to say we wouldn't be given the information. We wouldn't be given the information, especially, as far as us being connected, to the branch. We wouldn't be given the information if every black man knew the shit. It would be no point. You know it. So
Man,
clearly
look.
we know black men don't know the information. So we're trying to fill in that void, that gap in terms of your access to information, because you don't probably know even how to go about looking for this information. A show comes up about a particular industry, and then a certification that can connect you to this industry is brought up. Now you know how much leg work you didn't have to damn go through just because you listened to that stream, you got that particular certification, you have avoided a lot of shit just getting that information.
Correct. And what people don't understand is I used to be in this position too.
Right.
I used to be in a position
Thank
where I
you.
didn't know shit. I was off the cuff. I wasn't participating. I was mad as hell. I thought people owed me shit, and I wasn't going to participate until I got it. Until I started realizing that is not how you're going to get anything done. You don't get
Hmm.
shit done by following the process like everybody else. Oh, what the gays got so much power? They follow the process like everybody else. They participate
Hmm.
financially in large amounts
Hmm.
every election like everybody else. And so does the Latinos. And they're like, oh
Hmm.
man, the Latinos, so man, all they're doing, only, yeah, yeah, because they're the people paying them. You can do the same
Hmm.
thing. Like, man, like, listen, if people want to like lower insurance, 50 cents per person donated to like most of the people on that ballot, this shit would have been passed already. Why? It's what you paid for. And guess
Hmm.
what? If you start using that Citizens United that way, that shit would change so fast, it'll make your head spin. If you start using the system the way that they use it and get
Hmm.
results, they would change that system faster than you can ever believe.
Hmm.
They will make sure that you have to formulate a pack in order to donate money.
Right. Right. The reality of the situation is people use this model in terms of dumbing people down because it works. It gets them money. That's why they do it. It actually works. And until you get informed, which is what we are all about in terms of dispensing the information, like we're informing you. So clearly, like we ain't taking nothing from you. We're not trying to get over on you. So how are you getting offended because we're right on what we're talking about? Yes, we know what we're talking about because this is what we're in. Like we're in this. We're not somebody. We're not people up here theorizing and talking about some shit third hand or second hand. We're in this shit. And what y'all don't realize is, especially when we're talking about things from a business perspective, y'all do not realize how much money black people are leaving on the table to white people simply because you won't even get in the game and compete. You're
Yeah.
ceding so much money to white people, not because they're better, but because white people just show up. White people show up. That's it. You
These
won't even
same
get in the
people
game.
These same people who tell you that they don't fuck with the government, dude, they take every handout the government gives them.
What,
Every single one of them. Fuck you talking about?
man? Going all the way back to the damn GI Bill.
Rural America is ran on welfare. You think them jobs? You really think that jobs way the fuck out there? Nah, there ain't no
Man,
jobs
please.
out there, man. Everybody's on public assistance out there, bro.
It's
Like, it's so frustrating sometimes, man.
yeah. I mean, it's and this is where miseducation comes in, and this is why I keep pushing this point. Like, man, we all been miseducated, man. All of us. All of us have been miseducated. And it's your job in the information age to educate yourself. You need to, you have, there used to be a point in time where the masses of the population could not read.
Yeah,
They didn't have access to information. That is
by
not even
force, by
by
force.
force, by force. Like literally, like I mean, there were people like in your history, like Frederick Douglass, who were made forced to stop reading because people didn't want them to start thinking for themselves. That's not what y'all have. Now y'all have to deal with something that's deadlier, which is being apathetic. That's
Yeah,
deadlier. I respect
apathetic
somebody.
and nihilistic, and taking no action after the apathetic, apathy and nihilism.
Look,
It's great to see how bad things are, but you still got to take some action after you notice how bad
after you
things are.
notice,
After that,
right, right.
yeah,
I don't know if you've seen the video of the black dude who he I think he kind of went viral because he was learning how to read and he was talking about it on camera and he started kind of tearing up. But he was like, man, I'm gonna keep pushing though. I'm gonna keep pushing. And you can tell, man, he had pride in himself because he was showing people like, man, I didn't learn how to read. And he had to be like 30 something, man. You know what I'm saying? Yo, think about, man, what kind of shit that does to your confidence, man, and your self-esteem as a man. You know what I'm saying? To come to that. I've been in neighborhoods
I
where
mean,
I've
man, how
seen
can you
grown black
operate
men
in
who couldn't read.
society?
Hold on, I'm
How can
saying
you operate in society?
I remember when we used to play ball when I was younger, man, at the park, man. And there used to be this dude named Earl, man. And I remember, man, like somebody was giving him some change or something to go get some drink or something. And he was sitting there trying to count the change in his hand. Man, Earl, at that time, I was like in the eighth grade, man. Earl had to be at least about 35. Man, he couldn't count the fucking change, man. That's not that his family failed him. That wasn't on him. His family failed him. But that's a real situation because we're seeing that with black boys like a mug. So we gotta really be serious, man, about what's going on, man, because where the money is where the information is. You are in a
Right.
knowledge-based economy. You cannot get money out here if you don't have the right information. If you can't read the information, if you can't synthesize and understand and critically break down the information, you are going to be in a world of hurt. And then when you're going up against other people's family members, I remember one time I used to go to these meetings at my school years ago, and there was an Indian chick that used to come in there, and she used to be a part of our meeting. So one day we were talking, and she said her father went to her principal in her high school, and he asked them out of concern. He said, "Yo, man, what are y'all gonna do about these black students, man? That really are underachieving and failing?" And this white principal said to him, very kind, I mean, just like, hey, it's just the way it is. He said, man, some people are just destined to fail. And her father was like, what? Nah, man, you can't be like that, man. He was like, hey, that's just what it is.
Most of these apathetic people, most of these people who can't benefit from society, they are all over academia. They are
All
littered,
over it.
littered with
He was an
poor
educator.
yes.
And they get salaries 120,000, 140, 160. They sitting there getting paid doing nothing. Basically babysitting your kid. They're not teaching. They're not teaching. Why do y'all think there's so much homeschool on the rise in Black America? Because a lot of Black parents are realizing, man, their kids are getting undereducated, miseducated, and they're not prepared, man. And y'all gonna be sitting there looking at your children if you're not preparing them. When they get 18 and they don't have no plan, you don't have a plan for them. They're gonna be sitting there looking at you, looking for some answers. You ain't got no answers because your ass don't read yourself. And then your kids gonna be like, man, you a failure. And that's just what we gonna be as a family. We're gonna be a failing ass family. And then y'all gonna be on the internet talking about how unfair society is, but you ain't never picked up a book and you're like you just like forget it. That's boring, or that's some white people shit. You got to be able to critically break down information. You live in that type of society. You know what I'm saying? You have a government that's constantly producing information. They're constantly doing surveys and research
Surveys,
and
studies,
Bureau of
research.
Institute of what's the it's the one, I can't think of the name of that shit right now. Uh, Bureau of Labor Statistics and
Yeah.
all this type of stuff. Like because they're looking at statistics regarding these fields, and they're trying to craft policy in terms of monetary policy around these studies. Like this is the kind of society y'all live in, man. Yeah, but y'all want to focus more on entertainment than this shit. Well, good luck to you. But don't be mad when you're a janitor at 50, 60 years old and of a black man or a black woman's company, and then you want to get an attitude with them because you don't like the fact that you got to work for as a janitor for a black man or a black woman owned company. But if you was working for a white person as a janitor, you'd be happy with that job. But you want to get a black man and a black woman, you want to get them attitude because you failed in life. Nah, man. Nah. No. It's
But at
bullshit.
the end of the day, man, you have to understand that these people have a lot of domesticated pets that they keep on hold, that they deliberately mislead, so that way they can be better than somebody. I seen this shit all the time growing
Mm-hmm.
up, man. Like when I went back home, um, during, for this this time we went to Miss, Mississippi Valley for their homecoming this year. Again, man, I see people in their 40s, dudes that I left down there in the late 90s. They still domesticated pets to their parents. They have had no experience in life beyond taking
Yep.
care of their parents from a young ass age to now. I'm talking about no girlfriend, not married, don't know how to drive, don't know how to do shit. The only thing they know how to do is sit there and just do nothing. And it's like, these people are still in this neighborhood. And it's like, the parents end up dying, and then they get into the real world, and then they realize they got to be able to function or die. But that's the way the only way that happens.
Agreed.
It's crazy.
Agreed.
It's
Yep. I
it's
mean,
crazy.
there's a lot of that in Black America. I mean, you see it obviously more from the female side of things, where you have people who will use their children as a human shield to not
Yeah.
improve in life. They'll use their child as a human shield to not improve in life. And then when the children are looking for answers, like it's the most amazing thing because the children are like, okay, well, what am I supposed to do now? Like, I mean, you know what it's like to graduate. You know what I'm saying, from high school.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Remember that feeling, like, because you remember, like, at first we were like, boy, I can't wait to get out of school. And remember that feeling, man, when you graduated, and then you like, damn, that shit is over. You're like, ain't no going back to class. Like, ain't no going back to class. That's done.
I left, and I left home like graduation night. So I walked right off the stage, right into a car, straight to basic training
Yep, I
that
went to my
night.
basic training a month later. Yep.
Dude, I wasted no time. I'm talking about went to the park, put my cap and gown in the garbage, gave my diploma to my mother, and I'm like, hey man, out of here. Play like some ball for the last time. And I haven't played basketball in like 20 years after that. That was the last time, and I cap and gown, and I didn't go back to my 20th reunion. 20th reunion, I went back there. Guess what I seen? Some of the same men standing outside the same corner store 20
Mm-hmm.
years later don't even look like they aged at
Mm-hmm.
all.
Mm-hmm.
Knew me by name. Like, wait, what you say? Like, yeah, 20 whole years, and you dumb motherfuckers are still outside this liquor store, man.
Yep.
What's wrong here?
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yep.
yep, and yep, they found some woman to go lay under, and they can't go home. The woman be upside their head, so they just be outside the liquor store. They got their government check, and their only job is standing outside the liquor store trying to holler at every woman that comes into the corner store.
Or
Provide free
they get them
security.
crazy checks where they play crazy and go get a check full of money.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, I'm telling you, man, like, for a lot of the complaints that black people have, man, there are so many black people, man, that got so many hustles in the system to not do shit. It's unreal. Like it is unreal. And so y'all gotta really, like this notion of what we define as black, I'm really kind of getting tired of it because whenever we have this conversation, it's typically people trying to start out with the people who don't do shit as the definition of blackness. And that didn't
Correct.
used to be the fucking definition of blackness.
Yeah.
Excellence used to be the definition of blackness, not niggas who don't do shit.
Yeah. Yeah. The cynical one I left graduation night. Like the ceremony was over at 7:30. I was probably in that Air Force car headed to Jackson, probably like 8:30. I wasn't wasting no time. And yeah, like that's what it is, man. It's like
Mm-hmm,
it's kind of like how they hijacked the Manosphere. It's the
mm-hmm,
same type of stupid shit. Like it
mm-hmm,
was a place that was supposed to be for this. There are standards that are actually celebrated during Black History Month,
mm-hmm.
but they want to turn the brand into an acceptance policy for every single denizen, and like that ain't what the fuck this is, man. Like
No, no.
nobody asked y'all to go out and have a whole bunch of fucking kids, and you want to justify the shit like your only masculinity can only be proven by if you just had a bunch of fucking kids, right?
Well, you talked about how you've hired people who were former felons,
Yeah,
and you've
most of
gotten
them are.
them to you got them to be very productive. So what that really is showing you that is our nature as men is to not be unproductive. It's just that it takes some time for you to get around different types of men who can unlock that potential in you to do what you were designed to do anyway. And that's where we come in terms of giving the information because I say this all the time. Black men, our history shows that we're more than capable. We have been some of the best inventors in this country,
Yeah,
some of the most stout businessmen in this country, scientists, you name it. The issue is, do you have the access to the right information? It has always been an information game for us. It has always been about having the right information. It ain't been about the talent. It's been about having the right information to best utilize and extract the greatest amount of productivity from that talent you have. So when you have spaces like the Brain Trust that puts forth this information that can help you leapfrog into a different dimension, it behooves you not only to use it for yourself if that's what you need, but to also share it with other black men. Because like I don't care if you're 50. There are things you can still do in this system where you can change and do something completely different and still go out there and be very productive. Men can be man, you got people like Warren Buffett, man. This dude is in his damn near 90s and still making money. We
yeah,
there's no
90s.
right, you know what I'm saying? So there's no like productivity for us is like as long as we walking, we functional, man, we can be productive. And so
We should have been.
that's the beauty of
We
being
should
men,
have been
being a
took
man.
over the warehouse and shit. We should have been took over the
Yes,
transportation shit. We
yes.
should have been took over a whole bunch of these industries. But when you have a bunch of people who purposefully cannot work together because there is no singular principle among people. Like people actually like if you listen to these people talk, they think the get the bag shit is principle. Be on bullshit, get the bag. That is replaced principle
Hmm.
among these people. Like, I mean, it's like, oh yeah, as long as you get your money, it's like that shit is replaced principle.
Right.
Basic principle, like, look, man, we're not gonna damage our own shit just so that way we can be able to, so that way I can make it. And people are like, oh man, he kind of got his money, and that's him. And it's like every time I hear that shit, man, that fucking make me cringe, dude.
Hmm.
It
Hmm.
really gets on my nerves, and it's like the same amount of effort can be put into not doing that shit.
Hmm. And it's not us as a group of men culturally from a historical perspective. I mean, if you go back 100 years, man, you see black men building shit.
Yeah,
You know
all
what
the
I'm saying?
time.
You see black men being utilized from white people to build some of the most popular buildings in the United States,
I
like
mean,
that
shit, like
people
the
don't
whole
even realize.
Capitol was fucking built on
Come
that
on,
type of labor.
That's what I'm
Mount Vernon
saying.
was built on that type of labor. Come on, man. It's like,
I think the Sears Roebuck building was built by a black
yeah.
male construction company. That's what I'm
Because
saying, man.
here's the thing: if you got the skills to do the job, and if your bid's lower than anyone else's, you're getting put on, man. But at the end of the day, those skills and that building and working together framework was kind of destroyed during the 60s and 70s and on through that time period. And it became like, like there were like the men like Nagone 11 or Lawrence Guy or Uncle Stu. Like that was the standard for older men. Now the standard for the
Hmm.
older men are this, what I'm saying, they're just fucking it more, and that's what replaced the man at the time who actually wanted to be on some productive shit.
Yeah, it's the dudes who were. I'm pretty sure you heard this in Mississippi, man. The older dudes who would remember, like when something would happen or you would get mad or something, and an old nigga will say, "You know what you need, right? What? You need to go in and get you some pussy." Like what?
Yeah,
That was their answer for everything.
Erica.
We're not lying, y'all. This is what we heard. Now, there was some OG type dudes who will put us on, but there was a lot of dudes who was on that riffraff too, that would say stupid shit like that.
A,
That was
a
their
lot of them
answer
didn't
for
want to
everything.
hear. A lot of them didn't want to hear how good people were doing at anything if it didn't fucking help them.
No, they
Like
didn't.
that's kind of like the thing that where you're hearing the space. It's kind of like
They didn't.
it's not a plan because I can't participate in it. Why don't you
Mm-hmm.
plan my life out for me? What is the actual blueprint so that way I can benefit off of it? It's
Mm-hmm.
like, do you fucking need a blueprint in 2023 on how to fucking get somewhere, bro?
Yeah.
I ain't nah. We ain't looking for no blueprint, my man. At the
Nah.
end of the day, like, and it's like they think they be slick, man. It's like, okay, why don't you give me the whole plan and I'll decide if I can, magnify the shit and like, try to remix the shit and make it mine. It's like when I used to give away an actual game plan for people
Mm-hmm.
to go from not having a CDL to making $1 million a year with a fleet. Used to give the shit away for free.
I
This is before
remember.
I turned it to a program and started giving it to actual cultured individuals that I can actually work with.
I remember.
And everything like what to pick, how to pick it, what engine. This is what you talk about. Write down the actual phone number of every trailer that you pass by, every rental company in the area, everything. You should
Yep.
know everything about every engine of every truck. And it's like, oh man, that sounds hard. I'm like, dude, listen, you fuel every fucking day. Most fuel places have an actual mechanic shop in it. Ask a mechanic what he would like to work on. Like, okay, right now there was a fire in one of my trucks Friday, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of messed up, but I'm all right. Let's get past that. You
Okay.
go to an actual repair person at Freightliner, they'll tell you what the bad years of trucks are. They'll point out there and like, that's new, that's new. The whole place is full of new trucks. Like, damn. So what kind of year should I get? Boom, give you the information right away.
Mm-hmm.
They give you the information, and it's like, and if they don't give you the information, all these repair shops will tell you immediately what not to get. Because here's the thing: if you walk in with a certain level of truck, they're gonna refuse to work on it because they know it's gonna be thousands of dollars. You ain't got the money, your credit ain't straight, you're not gonna be able to get a loan or whatever, and they're just gonna refuse to work on the shit because they know those problems are gonna be 10, 15, $20,000 problem.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, man, if you want to do it, and I'm like, so imagine you getting your CDL. You got a place where your money's gonna go to. You're in a feeder pot, feeding your own pot about and teaching you how to look for trailers and look for tractors and have shit in mind and where to buy from and where not to buy from. You could buy trucks, trailers from auctions, but not really trucks from auctions. Like all this shit, all planned out. And people still fucked it up. Still found a way to fuck it up. It's crazy.
Yes, I think one of the most insidious things that has been introduced to the consciousness of black men specifically. I mean, it's a problem with a lot of the women too, but it's the idea of like following black male authority and leadership. Black people have a very serious problem doing this across the board. When I was coming up, following the leadership of black men was just something that wasn't even questioned. I mean, it wasn't even, hey, a black man told you to do something in your family, yo, you did it. Like that's it. Like and so when you have people who come from environments where they never had to respect black male authority, they've
Yes,
never
not
even
at
seen a
all.
black man be in an authority position. And now you coming to them as a black man authoritatively because you're trying to get shit done, they bristle at it like, man, who the hell you think you talking to talk to me like that? And it's like, yo, in the world of men, this is how we talk. We don't
Yeah,
sugarcoat it for you. We don't try to play nice with you and try to cajole you like your mama did. That's not what we're here for. We're here for you to get this shit together because that's what's required of you in terms of your manhood. It's this is not supposed to make you feel good, especially initially. When you get off that motherfucking plane in boot camp and they call out your name and you got to get up in there and you got to shave your head and them motherfuckers barking orders, they ain't trying to make you feel good. You better do that shit. When they say get up out this bed and you only had an hour and a half of sleep, they ain't trying to hear you tired. Get your ass out this motherfucking bed or we gonna yank your ass up out of here. You in a completely different world, man. And so you're in the world of men in competition. And the world of men in competition, it's in your face, but ultimately, man, in terms of your development, is rewarding because there is a reward to be productive. That's the beauty of it.
all
Like
day.
that's the beauty of it. There is a reward to it. There's no lifelong reward to gain. It's not like people gonna speak at your funeral and give a eulogy and be like, "Yo, man, that nigga had a lot of game, man. He was macking them hoes." That's not what motherfuckers gonna say. That's not what they gonna say. They're not gonna say that. They're gonna want to see what your productivity was. Yeah, man. You know, Jack, man, boy, he had set up you know, those apartments over there, man. He built them, man, with his company, man. Oh man, no, this man, you know, he built a hospital over here. He built a hospital. He built a hospital over here, and man, this service the community. That's what people gonna talk about. And so, you know, at the end of the day, like they're the people who rebuff us are the people who have chosen not to embrace their masculinity. Because everything that we talk about is about ultimately getting black men to a point where self-esteem wise, confidence wise, they know they belong and they can do this shit. That's it. That's all we're trying to do. We know there's a deficit. That's why we're here trying to fill that void so we can bridge the gap to the information so these men cannot look at the world as a place to be scared of, but look at the world as a place to go out there and conquer. That's what other groups of men are doing. They're going out there into the world and they're conquering. And they're getting in
Correct.
government. They're getting in government. And then next thing you know, you're looking up and now you're seeing a Chinese mayor in your city over you because they understand how to work the system to their advantage. You've been all here this whole time and you still don't understand. You have a problem. You have a
And
problem.
those people leapfrogging you, it's emblematic of the failure that you are within your own system. So they think if
Yeah,
they could just remove every person that looked like X, things will be better, and then they'll be at the bottom, and they don't have to live up to the reality that there are other people who are competing for your spot.
right,
Then they just want to hold the spot and not use it. It's
right.
kind of like this hold my place in line shit until you get almost up there, and then they just run out the back. It's like, man, like bro, you know, somebody tried that shit in line, man. Like, oh yeah, well, you know what? I was behind you 45 minutes. I was like, man, where were you? Well, you know what? I just went to my car. Like, hey man, you got 45 minutes to go wait in that long ass line, man. Don't be in front of me trying to act a fool in front of these fucking people, man. I don't know you
Mm,
like that. You got to go stand in this
exactly.
fucking line for 45 minutes like everybody else. At the end of the day, they just want to use other people, and they want to be fine with it, and they want you to be fine with it. They're like, look, I ain't got no values, I ain't got no principle. Accept me the way that I am. Like, nah,
Who does that sound like to you? Accept me for who I am. Who does that sound like to you? That sound like a bitch.
yeah, sure does.
That sound like a bitch. Because that's what bitches say. That's how females respond to you when they're used to dealing with men who don't represent authority, and then they connect to you and they see authority, and it's like, who are you to tell me? I'm the man here. That's who I am. Now, if you want to go deal with that dummy over there, then go back to the dummy. See, my whole thing is like get with like. I don't like the fact that black people like to use blackness when it's convenient, when it's the
As an
upper
excuse.
echelon, when it's the
As an
upper
excuse.
echelon black person having a certain value system that makes them look at this particular black person and look down upon them because they know that they don't match with their value system, and therefore they're not going to match with them. See, it's always the people at the bottom who are trying to bring the people at the top to the bottom. They're
Yep.
not trying to elevate to the top of those people. What they try to do is say, well, at the end of the day, you a nigga just like me. So no matter what your accomplishments are, the white man is still going to look at you as a nigga. No, you're looking at me like a nigga. They don't have no problem with me because they can't say nothing about me. They got to accept my credentials. So
Yeah.
what they gonna say? You know what I'm saying? They're gonna look stupid saying something. So, but you on the other hand, you're worse because you don't want to acknowledge that my excellence. You don't want to acknowledge my elite thinking. Like what sense would it make for Kobe Bryant to come in the league and say, "Yo, man, I want to be like Hersey Hawkins." That nigga didn't come into the league saying that shit. Rest in peace to him. He came in the league saying, "I'm gonna be better than Jordan."
From the gate, people thought the dude was crazy
That's a high standard to shoot for, though. So even if you
before you
come
even get
short,
started.
but if you come short, you still gonna be great. If you're not as considered as good as Jordan, it don't matter. You know what? You're in the conversation though. That's a hell of an accomplishment, dog. Because you shot that high. And that's the whole point. We shouldn't be a group of men that's cool with just getting by. Well, I'm just cool with just getting by. That ain't not even our fucking history, bro.
No, no,
That's
not
not
at
even
all.
our fucking history. We got National Negro Business Leagues, been in existence for 123 years. We got fucking Tuskegee, been in existence 144 years. All these schools, all these businesses. I mean, we got legacy businesses, insurance companies.
ACBUs.
Come on, what are y'all
Still
talking
pumping out
about?
graduates.
Still pumping out graduates. Tuskegee got all type of stuff, man. Dealing with NASA and programs with them. It's like, man, what y'all talking about? Like y'all are so focused on stupid people that you're missing the people that really can actually inspire you
They're
to
just
be
really
great
trying to leverage blackness though when it's convenient.
when it's
It's
convenient, man.
that's all. It's kind of like the people who use racism out of context. Shit, really gets on my fucking nerves whenever I see somebody do that.
Yeah,
It's just weird, weird.
man. Look, our whole history in slavery, post slavery, has been black people working together. I got privy to some information showing black people talking about things like wealth creation in slavery because there were black people who started businesses in slavery and how they were literally designing businesses with the goal in mind to get property so they can invest with each other and build wealth and pass it down because what was happening many of these black people would eventually buy each other out of slavery and they would have things set up for each other so when they out of it they could already be productive and then you get to post slavery and you start seeing the institutions that black people were building, the 134 black owned banks that came into existence from 1886 to 1934, much. I sent you something to your WhatsApp about these banks. What you see in their outlook was it, they were creating banks, but the goal of them was to be of service to black people, though. So this idea that black people can't work together, that's a bullshit ass damn trope connected to black people because it's not true because the history does not even support that. So now you have to once you find out that black people have a history of working together, now the question becomes, well, how did we get to this point then? Where did this come from then? Because this is not the norm. And then what you see in the history, what you see is that you have a lot of black academics who have conditioned black people from a consciousness perspective to believe that they can't work with each other.
Condition
Because
them to be actual failures and actual
thank you.
codependent and not really taking no action. Like a lot of
Right.
academics do that type of shit.
They
They're
do it
okay
all
with
the
people
time.
not
And it's
actually.
treason. It's a
Yeah,
treasonous
no
way of
doubt.
fucking thinking and teaching black people. It's treason, man. And then black people need to understand that like you don't need to tell no you don't need an academic to tell you oh white people are racist. Man, we got all hundreds of years of seeing white race and we know what white people can be capable of. But now it has to be okay. Now what's how are we going to counteract it? Like they can't just keep feeding you the same shit. You know what I'm saying? They can't keep feeding you the same shit. And that's what black people have. That's why every conversation is about a complaint, complaint, complaint. Man, we're trying to show you, man, what the black people are who are doing creating. Y'all don't see us
Tr-
complaining, man. Y'all see us on some creativity type shit because we know at the end of the day, it's our responsibility as men to create the institutions for us. And it's a part of the women who want to be a part of us. They have to be in support of those particular missions as well. If they're not, then they're not going to be a part of what we do. It's that simple.
And that's why I don't worry about what women choose. It doesn't matter. I
No.
mean, it's emblematic of how they're raised and what they're with. It's like, all right, let me get to this. Santos clutch. It is the woman's responsibility to not sexually reward unproductive men, and I agree with that. And because I don't have control over that, I'm not going to turn my whole platform into trying to go after random ass women that I don't know who may or may not be doing that. I don't know. The only thing I can
Hmm.
do is look at the results. Who's showing up to these conversations? And it's like, look, I'm beyond that shit. I don't care about those people. I don't care what they pick. I'm out of here. I'm over
Hmm.
here doing this shit. I'm gonna find women that I can fucking work with, and that's gonna be it. I'm not gonna set myself up to being some undisciplined sexual scavenger trying to turn every piece of black woman DNA in front of me into an opportunity. And if she don't want to fuck with me, then I'm just gonna bitch about it forever. Man,
No.
fuck that. I ain't got enough time
No.
for that, bro.
No.
That's fucking stupid as shit.
No. 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 That's a waste of time. And and I'm gonna be honest. I know I'm gonna say something that a lot of dudes don't want to hear, man. The women have been miseducated too,
Oh, sure.
just like you have been. Now, just like it's your responsibility to educate yourself in an era of time when there is a proliferation of information,
Yes, it
it's
is.
her responsibility to educate herself because we're going to bring some of the information regarding the history of black women's contribution to the black business class development. And we're going to show on both sides the mindset of the black men and the women who are a part of building institutions for black people. So there's not going to be any excuse either side is going to be able to use to make any excuses as to why you're failing, besides the fact that you're lethargic and lazy and you don't want to do shit. That's going to be the only reason why you're in a position because those people had to go through way much worse shit than we ever did, and they did great shit. So what's
Yes,
your
they did.
excuse when you have way more opportunities than they do? Way more, way more opportunities. When
Way more access, and most of the shit's even free now.
yes,
And in the Denver metro area, look, you want to go to school, you want to get these some of these jobs, boom, you got a free bus pass. Boom, you got free light rail all
come on.
over the fucking city because you're going to school and people still just don't take it. Then they get mad when the Latinos and the Asians outside of like Japanese and Chinese, Korean. You got a lot of Asian groups in there now. Most of them like dark skinned or whatever, from like Laos or
Okay.
Bangladesh, or even like some dark skinned Indians who are there too now. And it's like the sight of these people make you want to complain about them, but you don't want to go out there for the free
Mm-hmm.
education that they've been told about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they've been told about the free education. That's why they're here. These people were raised under a caste system to where it didn't matter what you did for a living, you was not gonna get a shot. Now you
Nope.
unleash those people upon unlimited opportunity based on your own ability to just show up. Of course they're gonna leapfrog you. Fuck
They're
out of
gonna
here.
leapfrog you so easily, because they're not looking for a perfect. They're not looking for a perfect environment to compete in
Before they get started. Before they
before
get
they get
started.
started.
No. They're like, look, they're doing what over there? This person did. Oh shit, if that person can do it, I know I could do it.
Come on,
Yeah.
come on.
And and what happens is once you don't have an inclusion level for those type of people, they get mad than a motherfucker.
And then, but
Woo, they get mad.
and then on top of that too, what a lot of these black people don't understand, a lot of these people are not going to feel sorry for you as black people.
Not at all.
One of the main reasons why they're not going to feel sorry for you is because they know your history more than you do, and they know that
Yes.
there were black people. They were looking at black people in America as being the group of black people that were going to help change the world because of all the black people that were supporting other groups of people in the world in oppressive situations. They understand your history. You don't
Yes.
even understand your own history. So when they look at you and they look at you with disdain, it's not because you're black. They're looking at you because you fucking over your own legacy as a group of people because you don't have respect for the people that went before you that gave you a good name globally.
And here's the thing. Most people globally don't know that we are not those fucking people anymore. But I let them think that shit anyway. I don't tell them these a bunch of rat bastards who don't want to fucking do anything here, man. I don't say nothing about that shit.
Oh man. Oh my God, bro,
Yeah.
they don't get it, man. They don't
Nah,
understand. Like people looked at us as the vanguard because we
they
did
did.
a lot of shit, man. We seen Malcolm X, we seen him link up with
In the face
Castro.
of hopeless odds.
I mean,
We
all
seen
type
what
of
it
stuff,
was.
man. We seen him give a speech at the UN. You know what I'm saying? We were very instrumental in helping bring the apartheid regime to an end in America. We had a lot
Yeah.
of black people who was putting pressure on the government to stop doing business with the clerk. Like people know the types of things that we did, man. But if y'all want to be an entertainment based group of people and y'all want to shuck and jive all the time for people, hey,
Man,
good
fuck
luck.
all that.
Good
Man,
luck. Good
you can
luck.
stand your ass out there by your lonesome with that, buddy.
Good luck. Good
Because
luck.
entertainers ain't got no type of core value except to keep shit going. Like that's their only job. They don't want nor need a functional nor operational society. They
hmm
can't have.
Yeah. I mean, you got people that's building institutions. People can say whatever they want to about Tyler Perry. He went from sleeping in a car to billionaire to his own studio. If you don't like how white people get down or they don't give you a fair chance, man, you better start writing some scripts for Tyler Perry and see if you can get on. Like, I don't want to hear that, man. Like, you can't. This man, yo, you can say what you want, man. The man got a damn studio, man. Be some of those people, man, that come with some different
That other
content.
people do movies out of, not just him.
Exactly. Exactly. You ain't gonna see no white person say like, "Oh, well, he did Medea, so I'm not gonna try to work with Tyler Perry because I don't like the fact, that he did Medea, like Spike Lee was doing." And it's like, but dude, like you did Girl Six, bro. What are you talking about?
You can play that game for a while, but you can't play that game forever.
Like, come on, man. Like, stop, bro. Like, stop with that nonsense, man. But again, he built an institution though. That's right in line with our history. That is something to marvel at. That is something to marvel at. Like, yo, this man built a damn He said, man, forget that, man. I don't need their acceptance, man. I'm gonna build my own shit. Yo, highly respect for that, man. I don't care what nobody say. Highly respectful, man, to that, man.
And he
And
didn't build
so,
it in their face. He went all the way out to a place where nothing was, and he made it
yeah,
great.
which is a more predominantly black area, low
Yes, it
income
is.
black area too. Hateville, yeah, I
Yeah.
know that area in Atlanta. I know. So, yeah. So it's like, yo, like, what else do y'all want? And he creating jobs for black people too. So what else you looking for, man? Like, use the system. Stop looking for love from white people, man, and build love amongst yourselves, man. That's the issue. You want love from them, man. Like, yo, man, do your thing and build your own. You'll be fine. You'll be fine, man. You don't see Chinese folks looking for love from white people. They building their own. They got their own stuff,
They,
man.
they don't
And
look
they're
for
gonna
love
take
from Chinese people either
no,
at
no.
all.
They left that shit. They're like, nah, man, I can't deal with this shit. I'm gonna come over here. I'm gonna come
They
over
come
here.
over here, they work their little jobs. Like I was talking to this guy. Where was I at? Crete, Nebraska. This was 2 weeks ago. This guy fought for the Viet Cong, and he's over here busting heads at a fucking Vietnamese restaurant. He said after the war, he got sent to jail for 15 years for helping. He got brought up on war crimes in his own territory or whatever. But being radicalized by the North or whatever, ended up getting out, came over here, seeing how great freedom was, and he just never turned back. Never looked back, never wanted to go visit, nothing.
Mm.
He over here killing it. And he was fighting against the idea of having a chance. He was like crazy. he
Mm.
just walk around crazy. I fought against having this chance crazy. Now
Wow.
he over here, he have a happening Vietnamese spot. Yeah, man, and it's like this is what these people are doing with the opportunity that you could have had.
Right. I
But a
mean,
lot of these people they just don't know.
even when you go back to slavery, the fact that you had a type of slavery where you could operate your own business and buy your own freedom. If you look at the history of people in terms of slavery overall, that ain't the norm. That is not the norm. That the norm is they work you to death and replace you. You don't grow old in it. So again, like even when you come from that particular perspective, it's like you got it. You got it a whole lot better than most people in the world. I remember an ex of mine, her pastor was Nigerian, and he said, he said a lot of you Black Americans, man, are always trying to come over there where we are. He said, man, we trying to come over here where y'all at.
Yeah,
And basically, what he was saying was, man, appreciate what you have.
it could be a lot
Stop being so
worse.
critical. Stop being so
It could be a
critical.
lot worse,
It can
dude. You
be
could
a
be
whole
born
lot worse.
in a lot worse areas, dude. You could be in North Korea,
Whew.
worshiping. And if you have a picture of the leader on the wall wrong, you could be put in prison for the rest of your life and 3 generations of your family over you doing something.
Mm,
Like, bro, there are worse situations to be in, far worse.
mm,
However, man, it's just like now that the opportunities are here, the opportunities are abundant. The
hmm
fight is not here anymore. Not at
That's the
all.
problem. That's the problem. The people who fought for you to have opportunities, now you got the opportunities. You don't have no fighting spirit. It's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
that's crazy, man.
It's ridiculous, man. Like you should be chomping at the bit. You should be trying to. I don't care if it's a lemonade stand, hot dog stand. Man, I watch these cooking shows, man, a lot, man. And to see how people just come up with things that you would never thought that they would put together for food that they sell, make millions of dollars, start companies, food trucks. Man, it's always, man, an opportunity, man. Creativity, man. That's where you need to be at. You can't be creative when you're constantly complaining. You
No,
can't.
you can't.
I mean, you have black women out here who have gotten into the construction industry and became millionaires because they saw a void that nobody was filling, and they
Yep.
filled it. When you have black men were just sitting around complaining about the system and this and that and the fourth, they're like, "No, I'm gonna go get that certification because these Mexicans they're illegal and they can't get it. So let me go get that certification and let me go start applying for some of those government contracts." And boom, damn, I got it. Uh-oh. Now my company is bringing in 350, $400 million a year. Like,
But at the end of the day, you look around and it's like the only thing you need is organization. Really.
mhm.
At this point, the only thing you need is organization. The only thing you need now is organization. But you got to protect your fucking group, man. Like these people infiltrated the manosphere and fuck it up, dude. These people infiltrate your business and fuck it up. I had a person who costed me a fucking United States Navy contract. I just fucking got the contract. This dude was on tape trying to steal shit, trying to steal food out of the fucking National Guard Navy shit. Costing me the entire fucking contract within 2 weeks of me getting it.
Wow. What?
Yeah.
Was that recent?
Nah, that was like,
Oh,
dude,
but still, bro.
this was like started. No, this is probably 7 years ago at this point.
Wow.
But at the end of the day, I'm just not able to do little shit from the Navy, but that mark is still there.
Mm.
Yeah, caught the dude on camera and everything, trying to steal food, and he stole a lot of it. Because if you have like a 1,500 naval squadron, well, squadron is Air Force, but I'm not sure what it's called in the Navy. But yeah, packed away all this shrimp and all this lobster and all these steaks and shit.
Wow.
Yeah. Why the fuck would you steal all that shit? You know you can't fucking eat all that shit. Yeah. Got fucked up.
Damn.
Yeah.
It's sad to say this, man, but a lot of us know this in business as far as black men. Sometimes we have to employ strategies where we have to put a white person on something to grease the wheel to get us through because of shit like that.
Oh, I do that all the time. I have one as the treasurer. My company, treasurer.
It's unreal, man. Like, it's
Yeah, man.
unreal.
I mean, you just go in there with a fucking dozen of donuts and go have a conversation, man.
Yep. Because, I mean, we're going to get it done regardless, man. But, all this talk about, our people this, our people that, man.
Well, you
It's funny,
hear,
man. When people say that, they're always talking about the worst type of niggas. They're never talking
yep,
about the elite level black people.
yep,
Never.
that's right.
They never consider them our people. It's always the lowest niggas out there, man. Straight up. And that's the issue. We have gotten to the bad, settled habit of using the worst type of black people as being the definition of black people.
That is the example. And the reason why I do it, because them dudes are easily controlled. And that's what they're for. They're easily controlled, dumb ass motherfucker that I don't want shit to do with.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, these people have had their time. They've had their reparations already.
Mm-hmm.
They've already had their outcomes. They've already had it. And it's just that people need to know, man, that they got to separate from this. You got to separate from this. It's like, look, you got to separate from this. And a lot of people want to run up the numbers, talking shit about the space or whatever. Now that I'm the president, don't nobody want to talk about space no more. Because you're talking about the manosphere, I'm gonna fucking flatten your goddamn tires. I'm fucking pull your shit up. I'm like, oh, okay, so what the fuck are you doing? I have a body of fucking work. Might as well be like a catalog of books at this point. So you can't say that I wasn't always on some productive man shit the entire time that I was here. Not about leaving these reptiles the fuck alone the entire time that I was here. I was never about bringing these goofy motherfuckers with me, man. Ever.
No,
I wasn't even ever about that shit. But at the end of the day,
about separation. Always.
And it's easier and it's easier when shit functions properly. it's very easy when it functions properly. You ain't got to worry about other shit.
No, no, no. I mean, because at the end of the day, a lot of people don't understand, man. This is just a value thing. Like, what do you value? Do you value entertainment more than being productive? Okay, well, there's a certain outcome that comes with that.
Yeah,
You
this
know,
one.
and entertainment, because there's nothing wrong with entertainment per se. It's how you interface with it. If you interface with entertainment in a way that keeps you distracted from being productive, then you're on some bullshit. Now, if you put in work and you go to a basketball game on Saturday because you want to see LeBron, you done worked all week, but you being productive, you doing all this other type of stuff. Yeah, you just chilling. But if you sitting there, man, worried about what Beyonce doing and Jay-Z
Oh
doing
God.
and all these different fucking
Huh.
people who, by the way, they're in the world of business entertainment. So y'all just think it's entertainment. No, it's called business entertainment. So you think like they're just out there playing around. That's their business. So they make the money for their family and they live good. While you sitting there languishing in life because you're trying to live through them. You're never gonna have their money. Not doing shit.
What
So
are
the
the
reality of the
results?
situation, yeah. So they're getting results. So when Beyonce makes how much she made on her, she made over $500 million on her past tour.
Yeah.
She's working. She's training. She's training 16, 17 hours a day. That's her craft. That's her business. Like she's putting on a performance. She's putting on a show. So at the end of the day, like she's about that bag though. Like she's not in it for
These dudes
playing
think
around.
that these dudes think that covering Keisha online is the same equivalent business as that shit.
Nah,
Fuck
no.
out of here.
Beyonce has a work ethic that many men can't measure up to.
No.
Many men can't measure up to her work ethic. Plain and simple. And she said that's the reason one of the main reasons why she got with Jay Z because he was a man that had a work ethic that was even bigger than what hers was, and she respected it. She respected Jay Z because of his work ethic. So you can say what you want to say. Like at the end of the day, entertainment is a business for for a certain demographic of people. For the people who actually partake of entertainment, you're just a consumer of it. But they're doing it to be productive. They're doing it to make money. So they're just in the business of entertaining you, and you pay for it. So that's all it
Yep.
is. That's all it is. So y'all got it confused. So, but if you want to be entertaining instead of being productive, well, good luck. But when you're a janitor at 60 years old, and we have seen plenty of black people in establishments as we have gone throughout our lives at 60, 65, 70 years old, who are janitors, clearly they made some poor decisions.
Man, I don't even worry
Made some
about it.
poor decisions.
I don't even worry about it. I don't even try to talk to them about it. Like, look, results are the results of what it is. Trying to keep my household fucking straight and keep this thing in between the lines and not worry about anyone else because it is not something that I want to be worried about. It's not. I can't sit here and I can't be fucking with this like this. At
Nope,
the end of the
nope.
day, I seen the path. I seen how it works, and I've seen the results. So there's really no need for me to
Hmm.
be continue to be sitting here acting like I
Mm-hmm.
don't know what the fuck I know. So thing is, man, you know better, you do better, or at least that's what you're supposed to do. And if you and if it's just weird being around because there's this deficit of like not even a deficit of leadership. It's now it's a deficit of action, a deficit of learning, a deficit of even respecting the people who are out there. It's just like a deficit of even what the process is, not even the participation, like a deficit of the fucking process.
Hmm.
Like, how do you have a deficit of the process when you can literally Google what the process is and simply participate?
And they don't realize that there are people that we will fuck with, who might not have been in this space as long as us, and they'll hit us up behind the scene and say who literally want to pour their skill sets into the space and build and will come to us and say, yo man, I'm about fucking sick and tired of the space and these weak dudes.
Yeah, man, weak
See,
dudes got the ball, man.
see, what a lot of these dudes don't understand is we've been in this space longer than a lot of these other cats. A lot of these people are new, so they don't know the space like we do. So
Yeah.
they really have a belief like, yo, man, if I can get my information to these brothers, man, it'll get on. And then when they get to a point where they start realizing, like, man, that damn, these niggas don't really want shit out of life, they coming to us and like lamenting, like, damn, man, like, yo, what's wrong with these niggas?
They're
So
like,
it's
dude,
it ain't
we
just the people like
lived
it
it.
ain't just hold on, we lived it,
We
right?
lived it.
It ain't just us that's saying it. Like it's people who don't might not have that animosity with people. They just looking at it for what they want to try to produce within it. And they're like, yo, man, yo, what's wrong with these dudes? And these are dudes who are younger than a lot of these older dudes who are on that bullshit. They're looking at these old niggas and like, yo, man, what the fuck is wrong with these old niggas, man? Like, what is their problem, man? I've seen cats come in this space, man, with the mindset of saying, "Yo, man, black men need to come in. Black men need to be controllers of industries and stuff like that." They come into this space with this mentality. They come into this space believing that black men can do great things. And meanwhile, it's Keisha. It's Keisha. And they're like,
24
"Yo,
hours.
these niggas don't want no money." Nah, they don't want no money. And I'll be the first one to say, man, I don't trust any man that don't want no money because I'm going to ask you. So you don't want to take care of yourself? You don't want to take care of your family? I can't trust that type of dude. I don't. If you don't want that, take away a family just for yourself, man. You don't want it. If you don't want that, man, I can't trust that, man. Cause damn, like that's just some normal shit. Like if you don't want no money, why the fuck are you sitting here complaining about anything then? You don't want money. Money is a form of power, it can be a form of power and influence. Well, if you don't want power and influence, what the fuck are we talking about then? This is a
Yeah.
waste of conversation. You don't want the basic things that true men want, which is power and influence. So there's nothing even talk about like that. You know what I'm saying? And if your strategy is, hey man, let's just come to the table and negotiate. Negotiate what? Nigga, you ain't about shit. You literally ain't about
Then they
shit.
walk right in and they want to run the show right away. They want to walk into like a CFO or a CEO or operations management position right away, right off the streets. And it's like, man, look, that is not, I'm not about to let you experiment with my shit so you can fuck it up.
Nah, man. This shit, yo, man. That's why, man. You know, my mentality for since I've been here has never been for reformation. I ain't never been on that Martin Luther bullshit. My mentality has always been separation, remnant, form something new. Leave the rest of the riffraff behind. Let them fall. That's what nature. If that's what nature calls for, their destruction, then so be it. I'm cool with it. But at the end of the day,
I'm not
there's
serving no
nothing.
time for it.
No,
But yeah,
ain't
you know, they
ain't
can go out
yeah,
there
yeah.
and
Ain't no
be
reforming
gone.
stupidity. There is no reforming stupidity. The only thing that will stop stupidity is stupidity stopping itself. There's no reforming it. You either be stupid or you stop being stupid. That's what we was talking. We was coming up. Hey, stop being stupid. What was our family telling us? They wasn't saying you were stupid. They were saying stop being stupid. They were saying it was a state of being. They wasn't saying it's a state of who you are. That's why they said stop being stupid. They didn't say you were stupid. They said stop being stupid. Because whatever you was doing was some stupid shit. And they didn't teach you to be stupid. Now motherfuckers are stupid. That's different.
No, no, there's been a drop in the good old fashioned DNA, you know, the reckless over procreation of problems so that way they could become the face of this actual place. That was on purpose, by the way. Not just in the space, throughout society, man.
Mm-hmm.
They recklessly drop kids out here to rewrite the DNA of the space from the greatness of yesteryear to mumble rap. Like you just draw a line from surviving under Jim Crow and Black Wall Street, and it ends at mumble rap.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right.
That's where you got to draw a line at, man. Be like, look, man, stuff could have been better. They just didn't want to do it.
Right.
So, yeah, man, let me wrap up and get out of here,
All
man.
right, bro.
Anything
Good.
else you want
Good
to
being with you.
add before we get up out of here?
I'm good, man. Good chopping it up, man.
All right, cool, man. All right, thanks. I want to thank everybody for coming through. Make sure you like the video. On the way out, you have to understand, man, most of these people didn't need help. They didn't get the access that they wanted. They just wanted to hang out. And that's just it, man. You just got to be able to do the content to ward those people away, raise the awareness of what people actually need to be doing, and just go do it, man. Don't be worried about people who's worried about all these external things that are way out of their control. Way out of their control. I mean, I wouldn't worry about that shit at all, man. So with that said, on the matter tomorrow, thank you guys for coming through and spending time here. You guys have a nice rest of y'all night. Peace.